ABC Sunday Night Movie will not be seen tonight, so that we will bring you the following ABC Sports Special.
Since 1911, it has been the dream of every American race driver to win the great race. From the Marmon Wasp of Ray Haroon to the sleek turbo-powered race car of Rick Mears, the history of Indy is the history of American racing. Now ABC Sports brings you an exclusive same-day telecast. On May 25th, 1980, we're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Indianapolis, Indiana, for the 64th running of the Indianapolis 500.
This ABC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by the Champion Spark Plug Company, the Spark Plug Specialist. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. By Toyota, who invites you to see all the 1980 cars and trucks at your local Toyota dealer. Oh, what a feeling to drive a Toyota. And by Monroe, makers of Radiomatic and Monroe Magnum 60 shock absorbers.
You may start warming up your engine. You have 8 minutes. You have 8 minutes to warm up your engine. You may start now. Pit crew. You may start warming up your engine.
Home again in Indiana, and it seems that I can see the gleaming candlelight still shining bright through the sycamores for me. The new moon sends all its fragrance from the fields I used to roam. When I dream about the moonlight on the Wabash, then I long for my
Well, it doesn't matter where your real home is. At this moment, on the day of the Indianapolis 500, I can assure you everybody here is a Hoosier. I'm Jim McKay reporting from our ABC commentary position. And every year here at Indianapolis, the story is at least slightly different. This time, it's not so much a matter of youth against age, although our defending champion, Rick Mears, is only 28, as experience against inexperience. We have 10 rookies among the 33 cars this time, and that's the first time that's happened, that we've had that many rookies since 1965. That's 15 years ago. Last year we had only one rookie in the race, Howdy Holmes, and he didn't make it this time. On the other hand, we still have experience here. Every driver on the first row is over 40 years of age. Let's bring in now a man who is not over 40 years of age, I don't believe, but he certainly has experience, three-time world champion, Jackie Stewart. What about this inexperienced business?
Well, the position as I see it here, you've got these 10 rookies. Now, rookies, although not necessarily young as you say, are fresh to the speedway, super fast speedway. It can be very dangerous. On the other hand, you've got these experienced drivers. You've got 7 past winners, a tremendous bank of knowledge there, and they're fast drivers, always able to win. My fear, Jim, is that the rookies are going to be a little over-enthusiastic because the cars this year are not as powerful as before, and therefore driving talent is going to be of a very high level of importance.
And when you get to this point, just a matter of minutes before the race, something begins to happen to a man's stomach and to his mind, doesn't it?
Oh yes, a lot of things begin to happen, but he's got to keep himself very cool, very calm and very collected. It's at this time that experience really shows, and of course the more experienced drivers, the drivers who have been here before, can deal with it that little bit better.
You can almost see it in their faces, as a matter of fact.
Well, when they're putting on helmets right now, Rick Mears has done it before, so he knows. There's a man who's done it so many times. He's cool, calm and collected. He wants to be sure that everything's right. He's got to dress properly. You don't get a second chance before this race. There's no point in having a crease somewhere that'll be uncomfortable after 450 miles, because then what was a crease to begin with feels like a mountain inside your crash helmet. Bobby Unser, there's a man who could win this race and really who knows how to do it. It's immensely important to have your frame of mind right. And when they fit their balaclavas up and when they buckle their helmets on, Jim, they've got to be having their head only on one thing, on how they're going to start. And this, for me, was the most important thing. If I could get my head right for the start, I would be right for the race.
I've had the feeling all weekend that you think that there is perhaps more than the usual possibility of incidents in this race. Why?
Jim, I'm frightened about it because, first of all, we've got a lot of rookies. Secondly, the power is not as surplus as it's been in the past. We've got about 600 horsepower. And round this track, it's almost flat out. That's to say the car stays flat and accelerated for the whole way around the racetrack if the driver's got it right. And if anything goes wrong, he's got no surplus power to use up if the car starts to slide. And if that happens, and we've seen it happen during this month of May, I think really we've got a possibility of a few spin-outs and hopefully not too serious accidents.
We'll be back in a minute for the Indianapolis 500.
And now, race fans, the moment we've all been waiting for has arrived. And here to give the traditional command is the chairman of the board of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mrs. Tony Holman.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
On the first row, a trio of veterans, all former winners, all over 40 years old, all tough, smart, and talented. Sitting on the pole for the third time in the 500 is Johnny Rutherford of Texas, a two-time winner of the race, a handsome, articulate father of two. Rutherford drives the number 4 Chaparral, powered by a British Cosworth engine. The car, a ground effect vehicle, was built by the Texas oilman, engineer, and former driver, Jim Hall. In the middle of row 1 sits a man who missed the race entirely last year, Mario Andretti of Pennsylvania. Andretti, winner of the race 11 years ago, hasn't finished in the top 5 since then. Last year, he was driving at Monte Carlo on the day of Indy. He returns in car number 12 this year of the Roger Penske team. Like all of the cars in the first 2 rows, it's Cosworth powered. The first row is rounded out by the older of motor racing's most famous brother act. At age 46, Bobby Unser of New Mexico is seeking his 3rd Indianapolis victory. He has finished in the top 10 in 12 of his 17 previous Indianapolis starts. His car number 11 is also entered by the Penske team, thus the first row. If youth will be served this year, it will be served from the second row. Jerry Sneva in the middle has just turned 31. Spike Gelhausen on the inside is only 25. And on the outside of the second row sits the defending champion, 28-year-old Rick Mears of California. Last year, he brought a fresh face and a great new talent to victory lane. Again this year, he drives a Roger Penske car, number 1. He'll be starting directly behind Bobby Unser and right in front of Al Unser. Starting side by side on the third row are half-brothers. Johnny Parsons, driving the fastest qualifying Offie-powered car, is the son of a former Indy winner. His half-brother, Pancho Carter, is also the son of a former driver here, Duane Carter. On the outside of row 3, Al Unser, 40 years old, winner of the race in 1970, 71, and 78. A win today would allow him to join A.J. Foyt as a 4-time winner. He and brother Bobby already total 5 wins. Al drives for a new team this year, Longhorn Racing. The only man to have won the race 4 times, A.J. Foyt, will start directly behind Al Unser in row 4. At age 45, Foyt is as determined as ever and may well go with Al in pursuit of the leaders in the early going. The chassis of A.J.'s car, number 14, is called a Parnelli, but has undergone typical Foyt tinkering and modification. In a minute, we'll be back for the race. We're back at Indianapolis where the cars are underway, preparing for the start of the 1980 Indianapolis 500. A crowd thought to be a record, estimated at possibly more than 400,000 people is gathered here. Down in one of the pace cars is a Hoosier born and raised, a resident of Indiana today, my ABC Sports colleague, Chris Shackle. It's that time again, Chris.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim McKay. You talked about thousands of people as we slide through the number 1 turn and the long chute going into number 2 by the VIP suites. I have never seen so many people at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've never seen them in such a good mood. Possibly the weather has something to do with it. About 78 degrees and we have a playful front row. Bobby Unser keeps running up near our rear bumper. Mario Andretti is calm in the middle and Johnny Rutherford is waving to everyone as you see a shot now from our ABC camera located in the rear of the pace car. It's a beautiful sight as we come down here now. We do miss the late Tony Holman, but we have some consolation because his daughter Mary Holman George is here in the back seat with me, and the car is being driven by Tony George Holman, the grandson of the rebuilder and the man who perpetuated this spectacle. It is a spectacle of racing indeed, but it is today, as we drive down the backstretch now, a spectacle of people. It is the epitome of Americana, I believe. You see them dressed in every manner, fashion, or shape. They have been known to have streakers here. Now we're picking up our pace a little bit. Tony George driving the parade lap car. Bob Stemple is in the other. And here comes Bobby Unser. He wants more speed. This is always the case because we're only going 50 miles an hour, and those powerful Cosworth engines, well, they need more revolutions per minute. The track is cool, and the tires will be heating up a little later. You'll see them waving and staggering across the track to warm up the tires or to score them a bit. As we now leave number 3, we go to number 4. The parade laps are over for 2 of the cars. We're going to say goodbye from here as the faster pace lap is coming up, preparing for a safe, clean start. 200 laps, 500 miles. Incredible start coming as we now go to Jim McKay. Take it, Jim.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Chris Schenkel riding in one of the pace cars down there. Now let's set the field for the 1980 running of the Indianapolis 500. On the pole in that yellow car, number 4, on the right of your screen is Johnny Rutherford, a 2-time winner. In the middle of the first row, number 12, Mario Andretti, another winner. And on the outside, a 2-time winner, number 11, Bobby Unser. The second row, number 35, Spike Gelhausen. Number 7, Jerry Sneva. Number 1, Rick Mears, the defending champion. By the way, those yellow things you see are the flags on the rear of the pace car fluttering in our picture. In row 3, number 15, Johnny Parsons, whose father is driving the pace car today and who won this race 30 years ago. Number 10, Pancho Carter, half-brother to Johnny Parsons. And on the outside of row 3, number 5, Al Unser. Row 4, on the inside, number 66, Roger Rager. Number 23, Jim McElreath, at age 53, the oldest man to drive in the race. And on the outside, the redoubtable number 14, 4-time winner, A.J. Foyt. Row 5, number 40, Tom Bagley. Number 95, Larry Cannon. Number 26, Dick Ferguson. In row 6, number 25, the speedy Danny Ungaias. We'll watch for him to move up in the early going. In the middle, number 20, Gordon Johncock, another former winner. And on the outside, number 96, Don Whittington. He's one of 3 sets of brothers in this race. We'll mention his brother in a moment. Row 7, Tim Richmond, rookie, who has caused such a stir here in this month of May. In the middle of row 7, number 70, Gordon Smiley. And on the outside, the veteran George Snyder, number 16. In row 8, number 29 is Billy Englehart. Number 44 is Greg Leffler. Number 18, Dennis Firestone. All 3 of them are rookies. In row 9, number 99, Hurley Haywood, a veteran sports car driver. In the middle, number 48, Mike Mosley. Number 94, Bill Whittington. Row 10, 38, Jerry Carl. 8, Dick Simon. 2, Bill Vukovich. The final row, number 3, Tom Bigelow. 46, Gary Bettenhausen. And number 89, Tom Sneva. That is the field for the 1980 running of the Indianapolis 500. Now as they move towards the start, again, the yellow car, the one on the pole, we would expect to move out in front. Jackie Stewart with me, and they're getting into pretty good order, Jackie.
Yes, the pace car has gone off. Yes, it's off the racetrack, Jim.
The starter, Dwayne Sweeney, up there in the left of your picture, gives them the green flag. They're racing at Indianapolis. Bobby Unser going for the lead on the outside, but it's Johnny Rutherford down low in the yellow car. Unser still trying to get by him. They go between turns 1 and 2. It's Rutherford taking the lead. Bobby Unser made a very hard-charging move on the start, but he didn't make it. The noise that you hear is the traditional skyrockets going off. It has nothing to do with the race. That's nobody's engine that you hear. But Rutherford in the yellow car, number 4, is the leader. Bobby Unser in car number 11 is second, and number 12, Mario Andretti, is third. A good start.
Well, a very clean start in Johnny Rutherford there. Pole position holder, the man who's been the fastest car really consistently over this month of May. He didn't hold the fastest lap during the month of May. That went to the young rookie, Tim Richmond, but Rutherford's car has been going very well. It's handling well. It's the Jim Hall car. It's an aerodynamic masterpiece developed by Jim Hall, and right now he's already taken off quite an advantage on Bobby Unser.
Rutherford, Bobby Unser, Mario Andretti, Rick Mears, and Spike Gelhausen. Those are the leaders at the moment. But there's a gap already between the first 3 cars and the rest of them.
Now they're getting onto that long backstretch, and Johnny Rutherford's looking in his rear view mirrors. You can see his head cocking to the right and to the left to have a look and see how far. And we've got Mike Mosley in the Dan Gurney car. How sad for Dan Gurney, and Mike Mosley already blowing a lot of smoke. I saw it right in turn 1. As he put the power on through turn 1, smoke already came out of the car, and this must be a dreadfully disappointing thing for him, because he undoubtedly sees it in his rear view mirror, and he'll be told, of course, by Dan Gurney in the radio set. And here we have another Larry Cannon.
Larry Boom Boom Cannon, slowing down already on the race course. The attrition rate could be very high today after the heat begins to get to these engines. We have 2 cars in trouble already. Meanwhile, Rutherford, just as smooth as he could be, the unofficial speed of the first lap, 180.722.
Well, there's Mike Mosley in the pits now. What a sad situation so early in the race. The Dan Gurney team have been having troubles all season. It didn't seem that they were going to make it for a while, and there's Boom Boom Cannon low on the racetrack there. You saw him being passed at such a high speed, probably 185 miles an hour there, by that man, Johnny Rutherford, the man who's leading the Indianapolis 500. And Mario Andretti coming very close to the wall as they come out of there, then going right down this long stretch in the front here in front of so many people, 238,000 people in this racetrack seated alone. Can you imagine that?
We've just had an unofficial lap of 186.721. The standings again in the lead, the Jim Hall car, driven by Johnny Rutherford, number 4, the yellow in there. Behind him, number 11, Bobby Unser, and then number 12, Mario Andretti. The 4th place car, a little bit further back than that, is the defending champion, number 1, Rick Mears. Behind him, Spike Gelhausen, and in 6th place, number 10, Pancho Carter, who's running very well.
That's very impressive at this time for him. Isn't it amazing that the Roger Penske entered cars are now... And we have a yellow flag.
We don't know why.
Well, it could be that car on the racetrack could be considered an obstruction because it's going so closely. We have a car, Boom Boom Cannon, going round, and it could be that Boom Boom, because of that, it could be that that car be considered a hazard and an obstacle. The yellow flag could be put out.
Well, that is Larry Boom Boom Cannon, as they call him, one-time barber from Danville, Illinois.
And he's taking off his seat belts. That looks a bad sign for him.
This year, they are allowed to bunch up under the yellow flag, so it'll be pretty much a new race when the green comes out. But it's Johnny Rutherford the leader, Bobby Unser second, Mario Andretti third, and Rick Mears fourth. The Roger Penske cars running second, third, and fourth behind the Jim Hall entry. We'll be right back. We're back at Indianapolis, and they're running again. The green flag out from starter Dwayne Sweeney. Johnny Rutherford in the lead. Bobby Unser is second. Mario Andretti is third. Side by side, we have Rick Mears and Spike Gelhausen, almost in a tie for 4th place. Immediately, Rutherford on it. The cars had bunched up, but he's starting to move out again immediately.
Ironic, really, that this car, the Jim Hall car, the Chaparral, last year was run by Al Unser, and similarly, the car seemed to have the legs of everybody else. I have to predict at this stage that if he has no mechanical trouble, he has the best chance of winning this Indianapolis 500, which of course would be a tremendous step forward for him and for Jim Hall. The big thing here is to make the car last, how well it's been bolted together, how long these mechanical parts will hold together. But he's going to get a tremendous amount of pressure from these people behind him because they're in a position to give him a lot of pressure. But Spike Gelhausen has got himself into 4th position, so that's a pretty good thing for young Spike.
He's moved ahead of Rick Mears, as a matter of fact, and just behind Rick Mears, we still have Dwayne Carter, who's driving a very good race. 185.567 unofficially on that last lap, Jackie.
Well, these first 3 cars have taken a little bit of advantage there, as you can see them coming down that long stretch there. First 3 cars have got a bit of a breather, then comes Spike Gelhausen, but look at this man. Johnny Rutherford's been able to stretch that advantage already just after that green flag has been shown. And there you see Larry Cannon in the pits. What a sad day for him. He had to push his car in from turn 4. He got his seat belts off. He pushed the car. There he is walking behind the car there, trying to hope and pray that his mechanics can get it bolted together. Also still in the pits is Mike Mosley.
By the way, A.J. Foyt is in 9th place at the moment. Al Unser is in 13th place. We'll be keeping an eye on them. But there's the leader once again, number 4, Johnny Rutherford, the Texan, who has won this race twice before. The man behind him, Bobby Unser, has also won it twice. The man in 3rd place, Mario Andretti, won it once, and that was 11 years ago in 1969. There is Mario, who's had a really tough time the last year or so in Grand Prix racing after winning the World Championship. He has said this month that he has really needed something like the good month he's had in Indianapolis to get his spirits back. All right, we got an incident out there. What is it, 20? Dick Ferguson, number 26, losing a wheel.
Yes, that's quite a heavy accident. He's looking down now. Is he unconscious or is he just trying to undo his seatbelt? He doesn't seem to be moving very much, Jim. That's a very heavy impact he had. The emergency crews here at Indianapolis, the yellow flag, of course, is out. And look how quickly these crews get to the driver. These are the first aid people that you see there in the white uniforms there. The security men, and the emergency removal of the driver can be taking place by the men in their yellow or bright orange overalls there. This is in the turn 2, entrance to turn 2. He obviously had a problem getting out of turn 1, came into heavy contact with the wall. The driver's now being lifted out of the car. The steering wheels can be removed from the cars, and by so there the driver's walking out himself, Jim. That's a wonderful sight. A racing driver, I just always, see myself in a similar set of circumstances. I think of the family or my friends watching, and suddenly, if you walk away, you know that they know you're okay.
He is now being taken to the hospital for required checkup. He hit the wall and turned to the inside wall. A suspension on the right there came flying loose. He spun back onto the track, came to the left, just below the inside turn. I believe another driver, one of the Whittington brothers, was also involved. It also involved Bill Whittington in number 90.
Dennis Firestone into the pit. Dennis Firestone.
Much has been said about how dangerous the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is, how many people have been killed or seriously injured. Well remembered are the spectacular and sometimes horrific accidents that have taken place. Mike Mosley came out of turn 4 and did this, smote the outside wall, and then seemed to aimlessly find himself going down the racetrack until again he smote the wall with the driver halfway out the car. Then, in 1973, this horrific accident occurred. Salt Walther crashed heavily, spewed fuel down the racetrack and also into the spectator areas. Remarkably, got out without killing himself. Then Tom Sneaver in turn 2, a ball of fire, and again the driver survived. As a past president of the Grand Prix Drivers Association, I probably have examined more racetracks around the world than any other race driver, and I would have to declare that this speedway is as well equipped for safety as any track in the world, both for drivers and for spectators. Let's have a look at some of the facilities that we're all enjoying here. First of all, let's look at this. This is a debris fence, and it's all the way around this racetrack, 2.5 miles, all on the outside of the racetrack. This reinforced upright here that holds this debris fence itself. Hosers, just in case a car goes through there, it retains the car on the racetrack. As they go up, they get a little smaller, but still very strong. And well have we seen those work in the War of 1966 on the very first lap when so many wheels and cars went into that fence, and again in 1973 at the start of the race. Down below that is this wall, concrete against reinforced, all the way around the racetrack on the outside of the racetrack. In the inside of the racetrack again, a concrete wall on the front stretch and on the back straight of the racetrack. Now let's have a look over here at the first and second turns and the third and fourth turns. This year there's been introduced 4,000 feet of metal Armco barrier, and that's been introduced to protect these banks that have caused accidents such as this, when a car has been launched into the air precariously and sometimes tragically. These have been well looked after. Now let's have a look at the pit lane itself. On race day there will be 105 marshals carrying fire extinguishers down this particular pit lane. Out on the racetrack there will be 40 more. Then around the racetrack there will be 40 trucks with fire extinguishers and personnel on them. There will be 10 more, well equipped with medical people and so forth, to look after the drivers, and many times have we seen those trucks getting to a race car before it's even stopped during an accident. In the infield, we have a hospital, and we have 7 first aid posts, 250 medical personnel looking after that, including 80 doctors. There are 17 ambulances around here and 2 helicopters, all in the interest of safety. Indianapolis is well equipped, because remember, motor racing is dangerous, and it always will be dangerous. But it is important that when an accident does occur, that it's dealt with quickly and efficiently. This does happen at Indianapolis.
Now driver Bill Whittington has been removed from the car, placed on a stretcher. Steve Ryan for a second time. Danny Andreas is in the pit area.
We're back in Indianapolis, where virtually all of the field has taken advantage of a yellow flag to make pit stops. That has jumbled the standings tremendously. We may get the green flag right now. The current leader is number 16. There's the green flag out. George Snyder is the leader in car number 16. Number 20, Gordon Johncock, second. Number 8, Dick Simon is third. 25, Danny Ungaias. We would expect to see the previous leaders coming up, catching them and passing them pretty soon. That's Gordon Johncock taking the lead from George Snyder now. Johncock, who won this race back in 1973 in a rain-shortened finish. That was the year of great tragedy here. It took 3 days to run the race. It was the one where Saltwater had the crash on the start of the first day, where unfortunately Swede Savage eventually died of injuries suffered on the final day. Johncock was the winner that year. George Snyder is a veteran, never won the race, has never come close. There's Hurley Haywood's car in the pits, number 99, a veteran sports car driver and a good one. Goes way back into the 60s, but his car is ill at the moment.
Certainly is, but there Gordon Johncock, who's chief mechanic. George McNaughty has won 6 of these Indianapolis 500s with drivers like Graham Hill and A.J. Foyt and many others. So he knows what he's about. He also had a serious crash here the week before the first qualifying weekend, and in fact broke a bone in his ankle, and it was questionable whether he would even make the race because it was a high-speed accident. And right now, driving that blue and white car number 20, Gordon Johncock's taking an advantage going onto this long back stretch on George Snyder, who's driving an A.J. Foyt car, who's in second position.
Bill Whittington has been taken to the hospital. We'll try to get a further report. It seems to be a leg injury. And now, Bobby Unser moving into second place in car number 11. He's really flying. But this was a good break for Johncock. Gave him a chance to be competitive because he started well back. So, Bobby Unser in hot pursuit. 2 former winners of the race. Bobby, one half of the most famous brother act in American racing. Al Unser back in the pack there somewhere.
Well, I think you're just going to see Bobby Unser eat up Gordon Johncock just in a few minutes, and there's a situation, a crash in turn 1. A crash in turn 1 on the outside of turn 1, and here you see the car coming to a stop there.
See if we can pick up the number 35 there, Spike Gelhausen, who started on the inside of the second row. Spike has had more bad luck in turn 1 than anybody I can think of.
Well, I tell you this, he got that accident right because he stayed close to the wall all the way there as long as he could, because once the car hits the wall, if a race driver can stay on the wall, it's much better. Spike, in good condition, running down the racetrack. He will in any case be taken to the field hospital because it's mandatory here, in the interest of safety, that a driver goes for a complete checkup just in case there's something wrong there that can be later found out to be dangerous.
Dwayne Sweeney with the yellow flag. It looked like he might have been 2 abreast. Let's see, Jackie, as he comes into turn 1 there.
Okay, now he starts to spin. You can see the car spinning there because the smoke is on there. The other cars, luckily avoiding him very close there. Now watch this. He comes up here and hits this wall hard. And that was Danny Ungaias that nearly hit him. and he keeps close to the wall. He stays close to the wall. He's, instead of going down the racetrack in front of all the other cars, a race driver has to have presence of mind to do this. You hit the wall and you stay on it if at all possible. The car not so severely damaged. It's amazing, isn't it? Consider that's a concrete wall, reinforced, and he probably hit it at a speed of about 160 miles an hour.
Of course, Johncock is the leader. He is nestled behind the Johnny Larson.
I'm with Dr. Hanna at the hospital. Doctor, you have reports on 2 drivers.
Yes, we do have, Sam. First, Dick Ferguson is all okay with exception of a fracture of one of the small bones of his left small toe. That is being taped and he'll be released. Now, Bill Whittington is in at the present time. He has, I feel, a very definite fracture in the right lower leg near the ankle. He's in X-ray at the present time. But we feel quite certain there is a fracture there. His condition otherwise is good.
Okay, Dr. Hanna, Bill Whittington, a winner of Le Mans last year, do you see that this injury might in any way hamper his return to racing?
Not, of course, it may hamper it for a period of time, of possibly 6 to 8 weeks, something of that sort, in so much as it is his right leg that is involved. However, I do feel that he will be able to get back to racing.
Okay, good news. This is Sam Posey with Dr. Hanna at the Speedway Hospital.
A lot of guys didn't get to race either, so thank the people for coming out this year. Appreciate Sam and good crowd today. Everybody's saying, hey, racing's down, the speeds are down, the competition's good, and I'm glad to see people come out. I hope they see good.
The green flag is out again in Indianapolis. They are racing, and the battle will continue. We'll pick up again between Gordon Johncock in the lead and 46-year-old Bobby Unser in close, very hot pursuit.
Bobby Unser stalking his prey here. Car number 20, the blue and white car of Gordie Johncock. Very talented driver, a man who's won this Indianapolis 500. The man behind him also has won it. Bobby Unser in car number 11, and he's trying to get him on the back stretch. He just passes him. He just rolled past him. It looked like he had such a lot in hand there. Of course, he came out of the draft, the slipstream, and he just caught him at the right part of the racetrack. So Bobby Unser's our new leader in the Roger Penske prepared car number 11. And there he goes. Look at that car go. It's amazing. That speed shot to me, Jim, is always impressive.
That gives you some realistic idea of how fast they're going. That yellow car in third place, by the way, almost unbelievably, is Tom Sliva in car number 9, who started last in the field not very long ago.
He's really climbed his way through this. Of course, a very experienced driver is Tom. He really is fast. The first man to do 200 miles an hour around this speedway during qualification. But that's Bobby Unser we're looking at right now from Albuquerque in New Mexico. He's a tough man. I always look at him and think he's tough.
He has to be. So is his whole family, a family of race drivers. There you saw Tom Sliva going through, and a moment before we picked up another yellow car, Johnny Rutherford. There, look, just out of your picture again. We'll be seeing him, but there is the leader, second place car Johncock, and you see way up ahead Bobby Unser, the leader in the race. The green lights on, as you see, and this immense crowd looking on.
It seems to be now that Gordon Johncock, in fact, is holding up these cars immediately behind just a little bit, because Bobby Unser's just pulling away from everyone with a tremendous amount of ease. Look at the lead he's got there. There's a bit of shuffling going on there behind, and that may be slowing the others up just a little bit, although Gordie Johncock does have a little bit of a lead there over Tom. And there's Rutherford, the other yellow car on the right-hand side of the picture, Johnny Rutherford and the Chaparral coming up alongside there.
Right alongside Tom Sliva, now taking Tom Sliva and going out after Gordon Johncock. So he has moved from 6th place to 3rd very, very quickly, has Johnny Rutherford.
Well, he's quick. I had to say at the top of the program, as I said, that this has been for me the best race car on the racetrack this month of May. They've really come well prepared. It's almost gone too good for them, in my opinion. I'm always frightened when things... And look, he's going to have a go for 2nd place, but he's shut the door. Ronnie Johncock was not opening the door for any dear friend there.
You saw two very experienced race drivers going at it with each other, and Johncock called Rutherford's bluff, as simple as that.
Well, he was able to do it, and he carried it out very convincingly. Ronnie Johncock's a small man, a man of average height, James.
As we would say.
But there he goes. Here's Rutherford, and he's done it well this time. He really gave it the right amount of timing. His timing there was absolutely perfect. There was no way that Ronnie Johncock could have retaliated for that move of the Texans.
And now it will be Bobby Unser who immediately, right now, picks up Johnny Rutherford in his rear view mirror. Rutherford closing fast now on the leader. Unser still with a sizable lead, however.
Well, when you're driving a bright yellow car, you can't hide. But look at the lead Bobby Unser's got. It will be interesting to see now if Rutherford can close that lead, because he's already pulled well away from Ronnie Johncock.
He certainly has. Bobby Unser, as you say, a tough man from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And here, the Lone Star, Johnny Rutherford from Fort Worth, Texas. They're both former winners of the race. So is Johncock. And here is Mario Andretti in car number 12, taking third place from Johncock. Andretti, remember, won here 11 years ago. He won the World Championship of Grand Prix racing a couple of years ago, but since then has had no luck at all. And he's had no luck in Indianapolis for a long, long time.
And that 83 there is the speed, 183 mile-an-hour average there for Bobby Unser. That was his tip signaling him that information just to tell him how fast he was going. It would be wonderful if Mario did so well in this race. And here we have Tom Bagley has put his hand in the air, trying to tell everybody to stop, trying to tell the emergency crews to come out. They've thrown the yellow flag because, of course, Tom Bagley is a hazard to other drivers.
So we've had plenty of yellows so far today. Pit stops coming up under the yellow. Let's see how a pit stop works.
Time is of absolute importance in a pit stop in Indianapolis. For every second lost on the racetrack is the length of a football field. 12 seconds is a real good stop at Indy. That means to say 12 football fields or 1,200 yards in length will be lost by this driver. 5 men were allowed over the wall to work on the car. Let's try and see what each of those 5 men do. It's got to be a team, but each man has a job to do. This man is the jack man. When the car comes in, he puts onto this nozzle an air jack, which lifts the car up very surely. In the past, many cars have fallen off their jacks in the old method. This way it's sure. This man here is changing the rear right wheel. When the car comes in, he's got an air wrench. He undoes the stud, pulls the wheel off. The jack man leads the new tire onto the car, and the wrench goes back in and tightens up a stud that's already fixed to the wheel. This man here is the fuel man. 38 gallons of fuel are pumped into the car in about 8 or 9 seconds. Then there's this man. He's the vent man. He's the man that takes the pressure from the fuel tank and allows any surplus fuel to go back into the reservoir, therefore saving the fuel. The air jack is taken off, the car is laid on the ground, and they push the car out of the pits. Let's see it one more time. Remember, a pit stop in Indianapolis has to be choreography. It has to be everybody doing the job they should do it in the absolute time. About 8 times the car will come in, and each man each time has to do it exactly. If a wheel comes off for Mario Andretti, it could be a disaster.
Okay, we're still under the yellow, and there is Bobby Unser, the race leader, into the pits. We have word, by the way, under this yellow, unofficial word that Pancho Carter may have picked up a lap penalty. That would be a very, very tough break for him. He's running very well. Well, we have Chris Schenkel and Dave Dials in our ABC Sports Scoring Central. They'll be checking up on such matters. In fact, we'll be going to them very shortly. But there is Unser back out onto the race course. The light's still flashing on the pace car, and that means that they'll not be going for at least another minute or two. You saw the stop car still on the race course. So in a minute, we'll be back with Chris and Dave. All right, Chris and Dave, and they are in fact racing again. Gordy Johncock in the lead. Pancho Carter's car, number 10, in second place. And we have Johnny Rutherford moving up again very quickly in his car, number 4.
You know, John Rutherford, it seems to me, it doesn't seem to matter what part of the racetrack he's on it. He seems to be able to race competitively, and this is the sign of a good chassis. When a car is working well, it doesn't seem to matter whether he's in traffic or whether he's on his own. He can just more or less do what he likes. And that's Gordon Johncock's wife, by the way, that we saw, pretty lady sitting there, I think probably biting her fingernails just a little bit, because any lady whose husband 500 must be in very pensive mood.
I don't know how they do it, but watch Johnny Rutherford here in car number 4, continuing to move up as he did just a few minutes ago. But every time there's a yellow flag, it seems to cost him on the juggling that results from the pit stops of just about all the cars. Boy, that car can really move.
Well, he's just very good. He's very clean and he seems to be very confident. As I said earlier, I think the only problem is it's been doing too well during the month of May without troubles, and that can often happen. This man had plenty of troubles because, as I said, John Thornton was still leading the race, had that heavy crash where in the just prior to the first qualifying weekend, and we all thought that he wouldn't be back for the race. But here he is, leading the 500.
Pancho Carter second and Johnny Rutherford third. We talked about the beautiful preparation of the Jim Hall car that Johnny Rutherford is driving. You've driven for Jim Hall in the car called the vacuum cleaner that had a mechanical suction device on it, later declared illegal. You know just how good an operation he runs.
Well, he does run a wonderful operation, more than anything else. And look, there's a Carter going to the lead. He's trying to get it right now, and he's got it. He's inside the inside. That's the classical way to do it. You can't go on the outside, but he did a clean pass and brought his on top right there.
Okay, so Pancho Carter in first place. Remember, he's the son of a race driver here at Indianapolis. His father, Dwayne Carter, finished fourth of the race. That was his best finish way back in the early 50s. Pancho himself has finished fourth in the race, but never better. Now here comes Rutherford, moving by Gordy Johncock, again into second place. He just picks them off, one at a time.
Well, he sets his sights and he seems to get what he wants. As I say, his chassis seems to be going very well for him. He seems to be able to run in any part of the racetrack and make these passes with the least amount of effort.
Now he's closing in on Pancho Carter. And here we have rookie Tim Richmond. Now we talked about him at the beginning of the race. He is now moving into the picture in car number 21.
Well, Tim Richmond's a young man who I have a very high regard for. He's a young man I met a few years ago, and certainly someone I think we're going to see an awful lot more of in the future. He's adapted himself so well to this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's no easy match, because remember, it's a very fast speedway, and to come here as a rookie and to do as well as he did, this very month of May, Tim Richmond had the fastest time on the speedway right through qualifying.
Boy, you have to be a very cool young head to suddenly find yourself out there before hundreds of thousands of people, sandwiched among the greatest race drivers in the United States. And this is your first time.
Well, it's a big feeling because right now, and here's Rutherford going to the lead, and he's done it again. He's done it before. He just seems to be able to come off of those long stretches, and here Allen's car is being pushed away. There's a disappointed man. 3 times the winner of this great race. He must be very sad.
Out of it in the early going, Al Unser, but Johnny Rutherford continues to lead. And here we have Pancho Carter into the pit. Was in second place, but he just pulled off the racetrack into the pits here. I don't know whether it's trouble or routine. Looks routine.
It does look routine, yes. The team are setting about it. They're taking the air hose away. They're not changing outside rubber. They're just putting fuel into the car. You see the time on the right-hand side of the corner there. Here's the picture of Pancho. He had a terrible accident at Phoenix, Arizona a few years ago. And now Johnny Parsons got his hand in the air. Isn't it tragic?
Yep. Johnny Parsons, who is the half-brother of Pancho Carter, whom we just saw. Now, here they are, the standings. Johnny Rutherford, Bobby Unser, Tim Richmond, the rookie, Rick Mears, and Gordon Johncock. It's going to be a race today at Indy. We're back at Indianapolis, and we've got a fire in this car in the pits. Number 70, Gordon Smiley of Garland, Texas. However, looks like they've got it under control. Because he's still in the race car, Jackie.
Well, you know, it's alcohol fuel here.
Yeah.
It doesn't burn with a flame the way you normally does. And sometimes, in fact, they're trying to get the driver right now. He's trying to get him outside now because...
But you can't see an alcohol.
In alcohol, you do not see fire. And you only feel it when it's too late, when it burns you. But it seems that he's okay. It doesn't look like he's burned, but he's walking away.
Here comes the green flag again. So they're racing once more in the 1980 Indianapolis 500. Here is Mario Andretti going for the lead in car number 12. Again, the standings have been shuffled under the pit stop. You see Pancho Carter second. Now, Mario is actually the dark blue car number 12 right there. He appears to be in second place behind the slower car, but he is, in fact, the leader in the race. moving into an apparent first place now.
So Mario takes first place, and blue car number 12 going in there to turn 3 and 4 here as he goes round the super speedway 9-degree banking there as they come out of this short shoot.
The car that appeared to be in first place was Jim McElreath at age 52, the oldest man ever to drive in the Indianapolis 500. He's actually a lap down. But the leader, Mario Andretti, Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Let's get to know him a little bit. Victory Lane is a place visited occasionally by most race drivers. For Mario Andretti, former Indy winner, former world champion, it's home in Nazareth, PA. Jackie visited him and asked why he lives in Nazareth.
I've been asked many times as to why Nazareth. First of all, it's because when my parents, when we came over in 55, this is where we settled, where we had our relatives. And I found no reason to go anywhere else, quite honestly. I think I have no desire to go anywhere else. I love the town, I love the people, and so I'm not looking for anything different.
Looking back in your career, you've won the Indy 500, you've won the Daytona 500, you've won the World Championship. What is the single most important achievement for you?
The most important thing that I've achieved career-wise is the World Championship, and the most important single event that I won is by far Indianapolis. I say it'll be anywhere between 40 and 45 that I'm going to hang it up. Whether it be 41 or 45, I don't know. I feel that I'm going to be as busy as I've ever been. It's not a matter of slacking off and say, oh, okay, I'll do just 4 or 5 races a year, and then that'll do enough for me.
It would be awful easy for critics to say, Mario's got all of this. He's got all the money. He's had all the victories. What does winning mean to him anymore?
Well, that's what I mean. I resent that sort of attitude when I hear, and I hear it quite a bit, or at least I feel it. I can almost see it in some people's faces, when they talk to me. But like I said, deep down, I know what I stand for. I know what I want. I know how badly I want it, and that's all that's important. But I got to prove it.
Right. I remember once in my career, I was being written off in the way that you're suggesting some people might be saying to you. And the biggest thing in my whole life was to come back.
Well, now you know what's grinding inside of me right now.
Mario Andretti, he was born in Italy, moved to Nazareth, Pennsylvania, still underneath, even while he was moving up in USAC racing, won the Indianapolis 500. His burning ambition was to be the World Grand Prix champion. He achieved that a couple of years ago. Since then, however, has fallen on very hard times. What would really mean something to him now would be that second Indianapolis victory. Now here is rookie Tim Richmond down low, trying to get past Rick Mears, and no, not goodbye this time.
Last year's winner certainly did the job.
Certainly did. Tim Richmond, a name to conjure with in the future.
It's been a tumultuous month for Tim Richmond. Tim, this must be the biggest month that's ever happened to you.
I'll tell you, Jackie, a couple weeks ago was probably the best week of my life, and we worked all in 7 days right there. We ran as fast as we did, and we kind of crashed the car, but now it's been a fantastic job. We're back ready to run the race, so I tell you, it's been really fantastic for me.
I'd have to observe as a race driver, right now in your career, you're sort of all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I mean, it must be like a bottle of champagne to open for you, because you're all bubbling full of life.
Yeah, I am, and I don't know what to say. I just, it's all new for me, doing things like this right here, and I don't know, it's amazing, and I really appreciate, the fact that I've been able to come here and have a chance to do what we've done. And I hope I can come back many years and keep doing it.
Just at the airport this morning, when I came in here, a man came up to me and says, what do you think of Tim Richmond? And he said, last year, I was in Gasoline Alley and I had a cashier's check for $200,000 and nobody was going to give him a ride. Now, there must be a lot of people who suddenly get on the bandwagon of Tim Richmond because you're the hottest young thing around.
Well, I don't know. 20,000, huh? Did you bring it over here today? I don't know. Last year, I can remember we trying to take him here. I made 100 laps around here every day trying to find a ride, and I'm really glad I didn't have a ride last year and come up with one, because now I had a little bit more experience and was able to come here and know a little bit more about the type of racing that we're doing here. So, I don't know, $200,000 takes on, I guess.
So what's Tim Richmond's greatest goal?
The greatest goal? I want to do one day in the majors, but Better than A.J. Foyt, a young man not lacking in dreams or in confidence, is Tim Richmond now in fifth place in the race. Just behind him, Bobby Youngster, for example, almost twice as late. Look at this going on here. There is Rick Mears in the blue car, then Richmond, and then Bobby Youngster.
Well, Tim Richmond right now is ahead of A.J. Foyt, so maybe that dream is coming true.
At least for the moment. But in his mirror, as I said, he sees Bobby Youngster, a man almost twice his age, a tough, experienced, two-time winner. So Tim Richmond, at the very minimum, is learning an awful lot out there today. Back at Indianapolis, and the leader is in the pit. Mario Andretti in car number 12 of the Roger Penske Racing Team. Out after his second victory in Indianapolis, but the first 11 long years ago, remember. Another beautifully coordinated pit stop. Marvelous teamwork by the Penske crew. Absolutely a beautiful watch. Look out, we've got a problem. Back on the track. 23 there is Jimmy McElry, the veteran, 52 years old. And there, 66 is Roger Rager. The engine in his car started light as the block of an engine in a school bus. From Mound, Minnesota.
Well, right now, he's a lucky man. He's okay. He's getting out of this. Oh, he's annoyed. He's upset. He can't get out of the race car. He's really upset. You can see the anger boiling out his crash helmet. His car hit the inside of the guardrail. He damaged his front right wheel. The nose cone of the car came off, and then he collided with the rear end of his car on the guardrail from where he stopped with Jim McElry, was the one who spun out there. Here he is on the left-hand side of the picture just going out. He spun out. He went right up to the top end, and he crashed into that wall backwards. You can see him sliding around the wall. Now he's going down to the inside of the racetrack, down the racetrack in front of the other car. And it's here that Roger Reader, you can see him going in on the grass on the lower side. And you see perhaps not as well used to the high-speed accidents as some of the other drivers, because it was a vehicle who spun in front of him. But that's the nose cone of Reader's car falling apart now. Oh, they were both very lucky to get out of that.
They certainly were, and obviously his frustration is that it wasn't his fault. Oh boy, heart-stopping event here at Indianapolis in the 1980 500. Just amazing how these men do it at all. What does driving a race car do to a man's physical function? His heart rate, for example. Well, during the first week of qualifying, Dr. Bob Hornott, a Boston physician who has worked extensively in the training of many of our Olympic athletes, applied an Oxford heart monitor to several of the drivers to record their heart rates before and during their runs. Here's what we learned.
Just as dashboard instruments display engine function, heart rate is the body's tachometer reflecting frustration, fear, exertion, excitement, and lowered by tough physical conditioning and a cool head. Scott Walter, a well-trained and exceptionally fit athlete, has a resting heart rate away from the track of 54 beats per minute, a rate more typical of marathoners. During this practice lap, you can see his heart rate on the dangerous short streets around 130 beats per minute, dropping almost immediately to around 104 on the wide, flat straightaways as the demands on his driving skills ease. He attributes his quick recovery and lack of fatigue during the 500 to boxing, running, and weightlifting. As he approaches turn 3, his heart rate rises again. This is Spike Gelhausen about to leave the pit for his qualifying run. At home, his resting heart rate is around 64 beats per minute. But look at it in the excitement of competition. His heart rate, driven by raw adrenaline in the pits, averages 135. Usually responding to the body's demand for oxygen, drivers admit to being pumped up for the short qualifying sessions by sight alone. Many drivers who tested said fear of damage to the car and not their personal safety made them anxious. Gelhausen's response, though, is the thrill of racing alone gave him this high-level intensity. Howdy Holmes proved to be quite the opposite. At rest, his pulse is in the 50s. Calm in the pits at the starting line, his heart rate is around 95. Now look at him on the track. It's increased only to 110. In a spectacular display of coolness under fire, Howdy twice barely misses catastrophe with no change in his heart rate. First here, coming out of turn 1, he almost hits the wall. The heart rate doesn't budge after this close call with disaster. Then, in another attempt the following day, unexpectedly his car gets loose. Again, Howdy doesn't flinch. Race car drivers as athletes demonstrate their exceptional endurance and coolness under conditions of extreme heat, mechanical punishment, life-threatening danger, and physical stress.
Interesting scientific piece there. It's a growing junkyard by turn one of all the cars that have crashed in that area so far. They try to keep them away from the crowd. Later they'll be removed and titled. But that's about $500,000 worth of race car there right now. We're going to get the green. Here they come, racing again in the Indianapolis 500. And we've got Johnny Rutherford in the yellow car 4 in the lead. Followed by Rick Mears, Bobby Unser, Mario Andretti, and rookie Tim Richmond.
Well, we've got past winners and experienced drivers in the top 4 places, and then comes young Tim Richmond, who's certainly impressing a lot of people. But right now, the man I'm very impressed by, and also the car I'm impressed by, is that Chaparral driven by Johnny Rutherford. It certainly is looking good in there. You've got there's Bobby Unser on the right-hand side of the field. Bobby's going for it, and he gets into second place. Bobby is really aggressive. He really pushes. He doesn't give anybody a win.
We might mention the two of the drivers we saw in that heart rate piece, Salt Walker and Howdy Holmes, were here, tried but didn't actually qualify for the race. They were out there today. But Johnny Rutherford is certainly out there and out in front. Bobby Unser in second place now. The defending champion, 28-year-old Rick Mears, is third. And Mario Andretti and young Tim Richmond. It's an interesting blend. Youth, age, experience, and comparative inexperience among the leaders.
Well, here goes this man in the yellow car here. These two cars seem to be the fastest cars. And here's Betty Rutherford with her head down in concentration. She's lap tracking, a very important job, and that's very important for her to do.
There is that report that Pancho Carter may be penalized for lap for passing the pace car at one point. We'll report on that from Chris and Dave in a minute. Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. Johnny Rutherford leading Bobby Unser on the race course. Our information further, Jackie, I believe, if you check me on this, is that USAC says that they gave Pancho Carter a hold-up, a hand signal from the pace car. He says they waved him on. That's the controversy.
That's what's been suggested right now. This will have to be worked out at a later date. There can be a process registered with USAC after the race, and I'm sure that will probably be done by his team.
But not until tomorrow morning, about 8 o'clock.
That's correct. Then it will be discussed by the officials.
Okay, meanwhile the race goes on. Here is Ricardo Montalban, star of Fantasy Island. I'm sure you have him on your island too.
We have them on our island, and here's the start right there. That is breaking there. He got into third place right there, and I'd love to see Mario doing well. I'm so keen that he does well in this race in front of his own American people, with having had such a disappointing 2 years in Grand Prix racing. He's such a talented driver. He's matured as a driver over the years. He's such a nice person. He's a great ambassador, by the way, abroad for your country and for your racing.
Well, Mario has passed his teammate and defending champion Rick Mears in their battle for third place. Up ahead, you saw that the leader, of course, is Johnny Rutherford, closely pursued right now by Bobby Unser. The 3 Roger Penske-sponsored cars running second, third, and fourth. I shouldn't say Penske-sponsored, Penske-prepared cars.
That's correct. Some of the sponsors, in fact, come from as far away as Monaco. There's a Monaco sponsor, Monaco-based sponsor, Mario Andretti's car. It's amazing, really. It's a very international situation, motor racing. And there's Marcia Unser.
That's Bobby Unser.
Bobby Unser's wife. And she's an experienced lady at the racetrack. She's not allowing her emotions to run away with themselves, and she sees her father, her husband really sticking to Johnny Rutherford right there. And of course, it's an easy car to stop from behind that bright yellow car. You'd like to pass it to James.
There was a time not too many years ago when you wouldn't have seen a wife anywhere near the pit area here in Indianapolis. The times sure have changed. Learn from your chaps, I believe, in Grand Prix.
Well, you Americans have some strange customs. You weren't allowing ladies in the pits. We've always attracted ladies to our racing.
Foreign drivers have always brought new things to Indianapolis. Back in 1913, Frenchman Jules Goux drank champagne on every pit stop and won the race and credited it to the champagne.
Absolutely, certainly.
Well, you saw the signal to Johnny Rutherford to come in for fuel. Fuel, a critical situation here. They just get 1.8 miles per gallon. It is not gasoline. It's basically alcohol.
Yes, and if he has a very good pit stop, he can come in there and take about 38 or 39 gallons of fuel. And here's Mario Andretti. He's going down. He's on the inside of the racetrack. This is not under a yellow. This is not going into the pits. This is a serious blow for Mario Andretti. It looks like he switched off the engine. He's sitting there. There must be going through his mind, not another mechanical failure. The yellow light is brought out. They're still racing. You can see the yellow car there. Car number 4 is Johnny Rutherford. The Chaparral still going on all 8 cylinders with Ford Cosworth engine. He's not slowing down, but Mario Andretti, I fear, may well be out of the race because he was going very slowly indeed.
Time after time, not only in Grand Prix in the last year or so, but here at Indianapolis, mechanical problems off a very small part. There he is down low in the race course. Has sidelined Mario Andretti. Again, there he is by the white line, creeping in towards the pit. Almost unquestionably, he'll be out of the Indianapolis 500. He's certainly not going to win it. Now they do bring the yellow out. So again, they are slowing down, reaching under the yellow at Indianapolis. Sam Posey, a fine race driver himself who will be driving tomorrow at Lime Rock, is down with Al Unser in the garage area.
I'm with Al Unser, a 3-time winner of the Indianapolis 500, but Al, it's not going to be a 4th time today. What happened?
Something happened in the engine, Sam. It dropped the valve or something. I really don't know. It only started running on 7 cylinders, so that was all.
Until then, how was it going?
Not very well. I wasn't happy at all. The car's not working well. It's not with the 48 inches. It's ridiculous. If they're going to race like this, I'm telling you, guys are doing stuff out there that are plumb out of reasoning and stupid because they're trying to run them so hard because of the low horsepower. It's pathetic.
Does this mean a lot of dangerous attempts to overtake in the short shoot, stuff like that?
Look how many crashes they've already had. It's very dangerous out there. If you back off just a little bit, somebody almost hits you. It's past the stage of being safe.
Al, a thought that has to go through your mind now, the ride that you vacated, Johnny Rutherford, he's leading your race. How do you feel?
Yeah, no different than I felt last year. I don't know what to say. I left him, and I'm not sorry I left him.
Well, we certainly wish you better luck in the rest of the races this year.
Al Unser was referring to the fact that he left the team that Johnny Rutherford is now driving for. But Mario Andretti up out of the car. That's it for the day. What a tough race. Mario Andretti out of it. Johnny Rutherford the leader, and more to come.
It's a tough season, Mario. What's the trouble this trip? I'm not sure. It's connecting rod or something. Mario, what about the shape of the race? The rookies and the low boost pressure. Has it made a difference in how you drive it here?
No, I think it was, the race was going very well at first. I think my car was working very good, and we were going just according to plan. We had our good stops, and we were just getting organized in our tire set, so I think the game plan was just going very smoothly for us, and then, of course, this happened, and now.
Mario, we've had a lot of accidents. Do you have any reason why?
Well, you know, corner speeds are up, and that's all you can really attribute it to, but luckily, you know, I'm knocking on wood, everything looks pretty good, nobody's injured.
How do the rookies look to you?
I've got no particular problem, really, in traffic. I think everybody was pretty heads up.
Okay, thanks very much. Mario Andretti, 1969 winner, out of it again.
Okay, that was Chris Economaki with Mario, and look at this. Again, shuffling in the standings because the pit stops are yellow, but the leader is the man who started in last place in this race, Tom Sneeva, who twice is second here, who twice sat on the pole when he was with Roger Penske. He was dismissed by Penske. He's with a new team now, and this is an unbelievable driving performance.
It certainly is, and look at the race there for second and third position. Bobby Hunt on the right-hand side of the car, the dark color, the number 11, and Johnny Rutherford down in the pole.
So Tom Sneeva out in front, Rutherford second, and Bobby Unser third. A very interesting afternoon so far. We've had so many cars involved in the fight for the lead.
And good racing, really good, strong motor racing. It hasn't been any pussyfooting by anyone. Very happy for Tom Sneeva. There you are, number 1 for Tom Sneeva. And that's the pit giving him a happy signal. It's always nice to lead the Indianapolis 500. I laid it for quite a few laps back here, and there we see another attempt by Bobby. He seems to like the idea of going inside there. And he's, in fact,
doing it again.
They went round side by side. There's hardly room in this racetrack for that kind of maneuver, and yet both of those drivers did it. You have to have a lot of confidence in each other, Jim, to be able to do that, because if Rutherford was extremely raw, you would see the kind of accident that we saw earlier in this show. And here we have a spin out.
There we go. That's 96. That is the other Whittington brother. Ron Whittington.
And he doesn't seem to hit the wall. It was a flat front tire. A flat right front tire, left about
race was because he crashed. Sorry, he qualified in practice after the qualifications had taken place. Both Steve and Rutherford in the pit right now, by the way, 9 and 4 number cars. So the rule is if you put your backup car into the race, you must start at the back of the field.
That's right, and there he went. He kept his advantage there. They both took on fuel only. They did not take on rubber. That means, apart from anything else, that both of their cars are handling well. They don't have to change rubber to get the car to get more bite or more grip. And it quite often is the case if the car is not handling well, they'll put on new tires.
Tom Sneva from the Great Northwest, dueling with Johnny Rutherford from the Lone Star State. And a long, long way to go at Indianapolis. Bill Fleming is now down with Roger Rager, who looked so infuriated after that crash. Let's see why he was angry. Bill?
I'm with Roger Rager right now, who had an unfortunate accident out on the track. Roger, in your own words, what happened?
Well, one of the veterans spun in front of me, and I had to, rather than drive through the cockpit with him still in it, I had to spin to miss him. And I was headed in a line that I should have missed him, and by the time I got there, he was already there. He bounced off the outside wall and come back down across the track, and I spun to miss him and hit the inside wall. That's all I can say. I think there's too much emphasis put on the rookies because we're as good as they are, we wouldn't be here.
Now, that veteran you spoke of, I believe, was Jim McElreath, who will be the oldest driver in the field. Indeed, a veteran of 15,500. You seem to have a little edge on the way you said that. Roger, was it kind of building up this week with all the pressure on the rookies?
Well, they've given us a lot of flack, and everybody looks at you like you shouldn't be here, but, I've driven 8 different championship cars, and this is only my first 500 here, but it's not my first 500, and, they're not speaking of just me, I'm sure, but a lot of the other rookies, and, these guys are evidently professionals, or they wouldn't be here. That's what it amounts to, and it's just sad that it's the situation the way it is, where everybody has to come in and buy rides. If they hired everybody on their ability, definitely there's some rookies that wouldn't be here.
I know one thing, you won't be a rookie next year.
That's for sure.
Back to you, Jim.
Let's have another look now at Don Whittington's problem, Jackie.
Well, he got high on the racetrack there. It seems certain that he had a tire problem because you can see that yellow car coming out of turn 4 there. Suddenly the car gets very loose indeed. The car spins, and look, it doesn't make contact with the wall. He keeps correcting the steering there. You can see the steering working there, but you can already see that the tire, look how the tires are stopped there. As he's sliding to a stop, trying to slow the car down. That front wheel stopped altogether, and then he just misses the wall. That tire is flat right there.
Incidentally, to understand the Roger Rager interview, you must take it in the context that he represents the low-budget racer here. His engine started in a school bus. That's an actual fact. Back at Indianapolis again, Jim McKay with Jackie Stewart, and there are the standings. Bobby Unser, Tim Richmond, the rookie, Tom Sneva, Johnny Rutherford, and Rick Mears. Bobby Unser out in front with a good lead, but look at all this action going on behind there. Tim Richmond up high alongside Tom Sneva. Sneva down low now. And here comes Johnny Rutherford in car number 4, going past Richmond, so they both move by the rookie.
Boy, Rutherford did it there with not a great deal of concern for good manners as far as Richmond was concerned, but this is the racing business. This is not a day out for gentlemen friends, and he certainly wanted to get up there because, in fact, Bobby Unser has taken a very commanding lead after that yellow. It seems that he's perhaps anticipated the green flag slightly and certainly got the power on nice and early, because look at the gap. That's it. That's the gap there, and here's the second group, Tom Sneva and Johnny Rutherford coming, so you can see how good a job Bobby did there at the start of that green flag.
And there comes Rutherford again, moving past Tom Sneva in that great Jim Hall car, pride of Midland, Texas. The car is. Johnny's the pride of Fort Worth, Texas.
Well, they're certainly proud Texans.
No question of that. Bobby Unser still in the lead, and that lead substantial at the moment, meaning, well, about 100 yards, which, as you pointed out earlier, is 1 second on the race book.
But it's interesting to see how quickly if Johnny Rutherford could catch him up, because it has been obvious all day long that his car has been the fastest car in the speedway, and any deficit that he's had, he's been able to make up. So therefore, it'll be interesting to see if he can catch Bobby, because he's out of his draft now, really. That's 185 mile-an-hour lap for Bobby Unser, which is no slow speed around this speedway.
Is there such a thing at 185 miles an hour as subtle actions like teaching a rookie that you're in charge, that you're the boss, that you're the guy with experience?
Oh, no question about it. In fact, where Johnny Rutherford stuck his nose in going through turns 2 there to Tim Richmond, he was very well declaring the fact that he was the boss, that he was a 2-time winner of this Indy 500. That now, attention, young man, move slightly to the right because I'm coming through. I am your superior and I have the credentials to be so.
And I suspect Tim Richmond at age 24 understood that extremely well. So the race goes on at Indy. We've got 189 miles an hour for Johnny Rutherford. I think that is the fastest unofficial lap so far.
And by so doing, he's closing up on Bobby Unser.
Okay, we've talked a lot about Johnny Rutherford. Earlier, Chris Economaki had some words with this 2-time winner of the great 500-mile race.
Johnny Rutherford, 1963, crew cut, running around here looking for your first start in the Indy 500. How much has it changed over the years?
Oh, Chris, it's tremendous.
I mean, for you as a man.
For me, well, I'm up on top now, Chris. Where I wasn't then, I was a bug-eyed rookie running around here just in total awe of this place and the magnitude of it, and the veteran drivers that I'm on the track running as hard as I can go, and one of them goes by and like I'm painted on the fence, you know, and now I'm one of the guys that goes by like they're painted on the fence, and it's you know, it's fun and it's better now. You know, I enjoy it more because I'm one of the top racers and can relate to past experiences to help me go fast and be able to help the rookies, to talk to them and tell them the things that I've learned here.
John, Wally Dallenbach rides a motorcycle alone in the Colorado Rockies for relaxation. Bobby Unser goes up in the mountains to his ranch all alone. What is it about racing drivers who want to do things alone?
Chris, I don't know. I guess through the ages that may be a question that's never answered to anyone's satisfaction.
Do you have a fear of making friends in racing and have them perhaps killed?
No, I've never felt that way, and I've lost a lot of friends over the years through racing accidents. But it's, I think, you know, you're by yourself in that race car while you're racing. You do your best thinking sometimes in solitude, so I think that's probably the draw, is the fact that you can get away from it all, not have any distractions, and think about the situation and work out some problems.
John, 16 drivers that were in last year's race are on the outside looking in this year. What's it going to do to you, the first 500 that you're not in?
Well, I don't know, Chris. I hate to even think about that. Right now, the position we're in with the Pennzoil Chaparral and Jim Hall's team, I can't fathom that. It's a situation where things are so good and we're so up right now that you can't even devote the time to that. So I guess if that ever happened to me, I would probably hang it up and walk away.
I got a tip for you, John. I don't have any retirement plans either.
Very good.
Okay, Johnny Rutherford, who in talking about his career, that is he in second place behind Bobby Unser still, did not mention that in the 60s, for example, he broke both of his arms. There's his wife, Betty Rutherford, sitting up on top of the pits, keeping her own lap chart. So, the racing goes on. A couple of tough guys up front. Bobby Unser at age 46, Johnny Rutherford at age 42. The defender, Rick Mears, at age 28, is in third place. We'll be back at Indy. So Bobby Unser still leads at Indianapolis as the race moves inexorably on. Nowhere near the finish yet, however. Long way to go, and it's a hot day, remember. A sunny day. And it looks like maybe Bobby is lengthening it a bit over Johnny Rutherford, Jackie.
It certainly seems to have lost a lot of time, because when we left for our commercial there, he was much closer, Jim.
He certainly has. Definitely losing a lot of ground out there in the race course. Bill Fleming is down by the Rutherford pits. You you give us a report on that situation, Bill?
You know, for the first time today, Johnny Rutherford is actually dropping back a little bit. So we asked him what had happened to the car, and they say it's pushing. Now, in driving parlance, that means that the car is just not cornering right. So I think the next time you come in, you're going to see what happens. He's going to change the right front and try to get a different combination of stagger on those tires. In other words, to try to get a little bit more balance built into the front end so it'll get around those corners quicker. We'll see what happens.
Okay, Bill Fleming in the pits. Thanks very much. You can see Rutherford out there still dropping behind the leader, Bobby Unser.
You know, he's in radio contact with the pits, and that's how Jim Hall knows that the front end is pushing. When the front end is pushing, it means that the driver is turning into that left-hand bend, and the car wants to go straight on out towards the wall, and
the leader in the pits
is coming into the pits. Now let's watch this Penske teamwork here. Tremendously proficient. Looked over by Roger Penske himself. He's got his son in the pits today, and look at that team setting about. They're not changing rubber. Bobby Unser, look at the clock on the right-hand side. And they've come out 6.8 seconds. That is impressive. He probably didn't take a full load of fuel off, but he may have taken more than 30 gallons on.
Takes longer than that for a guy to ask me how much I won in the gas station.
Well, this man certainly is in winning mood right now because he's found himself in the lead. But look, he's high on the racetrack. Now, that could be the fact that he's pushing, and there's Schliever in the pits right now.
He had been running third, remember, Tom Schliever, who started in last place in this field.
Yep, he's doing. Now, let's have a look at how long it's taken him. He's gone off in 12.2 seconds. A lot of fuel gets spilled in. He was a little slow in getting out the pit there. Didn't get it away as quickly. The clock stopped. He didn't actually start as quickly as he could have done. But that's Johnny Rutherford. When we last saw him, he was heading high on the racetrack, almost out of the groove, because his car does seem to be out-handling, and he's coming into the pits.
Okay, Rutherford coming into the pits now in car number 4. Remember, these are all under the green. It was A.J. Foyt was in his way there, I believe, momentarily.
He was coming into the pits. He was going into his pit, which is further up the racetrack, and he was going a little slower naturally. So there is the car coming in. The clock is stopped. Perhaps a little bit early there. The wheels hadn't come to an absolute stop. Johnny Rutherford, you can see, man who, like me, seems to screw his eyes up a lot in bright sunshine. It's a little bit slower. He changed rear rubber there. He changed the front rubber. He's got out in 19.1 seconds. They've probably made several adjustments to that car in that time. Johnny Rutherford will be able to report to Jim Hall in the pits through his radio whether he's getting the car to grip that bit better. But there's last year's winner, Rick Mears, now in the lead.
Okay, all of these pit stops under the green. Again, let's go down to Bill Fleming.
Jim, how was the pit stop as far as you saw it?
Well, it was reasonable. We put a lot of fuel in. It took 17 and a half seconds. We changed 3 tires, so it was a good pit stop for us. It wasn't a particularly quick one, but it was a good one.
Jim, a little bit earlier, you'd made the motion that the car was pushing a little bit. We thought you might try to change the stagger somewhat.
Yeah, we changed the tire setup for him, so it ought to be okay now.
Okay, good luck.
All right, and there is Rick Mears, the new leader, but he's coming down low. Let's see. Yeah, he's got a pit this time. Here he comes, Rick Mears into the pit. All of the leaders pitting under the green. When time is of the essence, every half second counts. Not like under the yellow when you have a small luxury of time, let's say.
And again, the Penske crew, but these are different wheel changes and different fueling people for each of those cars, and an immense amount of competition within these crews to see who can get their man and their driver, and they're very jealous of each other and getting them out in the fastest possible way. A 12.2-second pit stop, again, a very good pit stop. The Penske crew are good.
Now all of the leaders have had their pit stops, and Bobby Unser is once again back in the lead, where he has been for a good portion of this motor race here at Indianapolis. Again, weather conditions perfect for the spectators. Temperature about 80 degrees, a warm sun. It's a nice summer day, but for these race cars, it's going to start taking its toll.
Engine-wise, it certainly can. And here we see Bobby Unser coming into the pits again and still under a green light. This is an unscheduled pit stop, it would appear. He's certainly coming in again. This is a sad day for him because he has, in a way, with him and Johnny Rutherford, they've dominated.
That's Dick Simon has lost a wheel.
And he's gone down to the racetrack. He's still in control of the race car. Dick Simon staying with it. You look at parts are flying off. There's the wheel finally come to rest here. It looked like the front end of the car almost exploded. The car's rubbing heavily now on the road. The race car cannot possibly
Here's Hurley Haywood's car, but he's out of it. The driver, okay, no problem. All kinds of action going on. We'll reorganize and come back. Okay, Dave and Chris, the yellow light goes out, the green flag is waved, and they're racing again. Johnny Rutherford is the leader. Rick Mears in that blue car, ducking down low, taking over second place. In third place, we have Bobby Unser, number 11, then Tom Stephen, number 9. Gordon Johncock, number 20, has moved into fifth place. He had led at one point in the race, remember, but there is Rutherford. He's got himself the lead again.
Yep, he's certainly got it. And look at the lead he's taken out already. It's amazing. He just seems to be able to pull it out the bag. And of course, when a driver's on form with a car that's handling well, he can do this sort of thing, and he tends to look as if he's dominating it. But right now, they're three abreast going down there. They're shuffling like a bunch of cars in Las Vegas going through there.
That was Gordon Johncock and Gary Bettenhausen. Gary Bettenhausen started next to last, but he's moving up in the field now and is currently in sixth place. And we have Steva in third place, who started dead last year.
Well, it's nice to see Gary Bettenhausen getting up and being competitive and being so highly placed here, because he's such a nice person. He's had a lot of bad luck in the past. He's driven almost any kind of race car that he can sit in, but he's got a rather bad right arm, and he doesn't get a lot of use out of it, but he's certainly got a lot of talent.
The right arm that was injured in a race crash. Incidentally, A.J. Foyt is not running particularly well today. He's been well back in the pack for most of the race. The only four-time winner. Bobby Unser slowing down. There he is on the right of your screen.
That looks bad because it's not the part of the racetrack. He's in the back stretch, 3,300 feet in length, and he's pulled right off the racetrack underneath the double yellow line there to stay away from the fast cars, which means that he's either switched the engine off or the engine is not going on all 8 cylinders in a satisfactory fashion. But he's still going. The car is still going. He's certainly got quite a lot of speed there, but he's not up to full speed. He's now in the pit apron. He's going towards the pits.
Well, we saw him make that unscheduled pit stop, and whatever it is, apparently has caught up with him once and for all. Bobby Unser is not going to win the Indianapolis 500 this year. Now another of the Penske cars, you know, is out of the race. Mario Andretti. That leaves Rick Mears, the defending champion, upholding the Penske forces all along.
Well, they may get this sorted out. They're working on it. They're certainly feverishly working on it. They haven't just shaken their head and walked away. Neither has Bobby Unser got out the race car. He can't be sure what it is. It looks like they're going to try and take off the engine cowling. That's bad news. That takes a lot of time. So therefore you're looking at a man, as you rightly say, who's not likely to win the race. They look as if they're working towards the ignition system. But there's the man who's still leading this race in a convincing fashion.
It certainly is. A lot of disappointment in the sport of motor racing, and particularly when you have been leading in the greatest race of them all, the Indianapolis 500. Again, a crowd approaching 400,000 people has gathered on a bright, sunny summer day. There's Rick Mears, who is second. Okay, Bill Fleming is down near the Bobby Unser pit. Why don't we get down and get another report from Bill? Here we go.
What you see there is the crew working feverishly on removing the coil from the engine of Bobby Unser's car. I feel for Bobby. His face is flushed and obviously frustrated. There's nothing worse than to have to sit there now while all this laborious work goes on. Who knows how long it'll take?
Okay, well, it certainly doesn't look like it's going to take a short time. Look at him wagging his head in frustration.
He's sitting there. He's a disappointed man. I know the feeling. I've led this race and I've had mechanical troubles, and it ain't no good feeling.
Well, and at age 46, he knows there can't be too many more Indianapolis 500s. But Johnny Rutherford at age 42 is doing nothing but looking forward, because he is leading the race now at Indianapolis. Rick -6. Rick Mears 6 seconds down to the leader, Rutherford, is what that means. Rick Mears, the defender, is in second place behind Rutherford. And there you see Sneva, Johncock, and Bettenhausen. We'll be back. Back at Indy again, Jim McKay in the commentary booth with Jackie Stewart. Remember, we still have more than an hour of coverage coming your way. 3 hours of coverage this year, as opposed to 2 in the past. The leader, Johnny Rutherford, then Rick Mears, the defender, Tom Sneva, who started in last place and is now third, and Johncock, you saw there. So, but this is the man of the hour up to this point, at any rate. Rutherford, who bided his time when he had to sit behind Bobby. Oh, look out, that is Jerry Sneva. Oh, into the wall, and hit it very hard.
He hit that wall very hard indeed. The whole side of that car seemed to be wiped off.
Remember, this is Jerry Sneva. This is not the man in third place. This is his younger brother, and he gave gave the sign that he's okay. Jerry Sneva in the car. Gee, right near turn 2, that has not been kind to the Sneva family. There's a look at Jerry in close-up, because the terrible crash of brother Tom happened in turn 2 a few years ago, and this year, their younger brother Jan, trying to qualify for the race, also crashed in 2. Now here is Johnny Rutherford into the pits in his car number 4, the leader. And Tom had another crash or 2 in practice this year.
Well, that certainly is a notorious corner for that family. This man sitting in there, relaxing a little bit, taking it out of the pits, an efficient pit stop there, the Tim Hall team, and there you see the other team, Rick Beers, the Fensky team, having a good go there, him carrying number 1, he was the car champion of the 1979 year. The War of Cart and USAC now come to terms, and they've joined forces together, gladly for everyone in motor racing to work together for a better sport. Let's have a look again at this accident of Jerry Sneva's, and you can see him losing adhesion. The back end of the car just goes out there. He tries to apply opposite lock, that's to say he tries to steer in to the skid, but of course it has no effect. Remember, he's doing more than 180 miles an hour. The smoke again is tire smoke, and now look at him hitting this wall. The car almost hits it symmetrically with the 2 tires. The car comes right back down on the road. No fire again. This is an impressive thing about Indianapolis.
Well, it certainly is. If you remember Tom Sneva's crash, when he crashed here a few years ago in turn 2, his car did catch on fire. Not so this time, and there's a very specific reason for that, really, and it's because there are such things as fuel cells in these cars now. It's been one of the major moves forward in safety. There's the ambulance standing by, but let's find out something about the fuel cell with Chris Economaki.
With speeds in the Indianapolis 500 approaching the 200-mile-an-hour mark, accidents can be disastrous if proper safety precautions are not taken. The organizers of the event, therefore, are very safety conscious, particularly in the area of fuel containment and fire prevention. Every car has a specially constructed fuel cell made by Goodyear. It's an interesting piece of equipment. It's made of 2 layers of puncture-resistant nylon coated with natural rubber, much like the fuel bags in the Vietnam helicopters that were subjected to machine gun fire. On the outside are 2 layers of puncture-resistant nylon as a shroud to give it added strength. Let's take a look at how strong this really is. I'm going to give it a couple of licks with an axe here. I'm no Paul Bunyan, but I'm going to give it my best shot. Let's see what happens here. Well, we hardly put a crease in the outer nylon. As you can see, it's a very strong unit. Now, recently, our cameras visited the Goodyear facility in Akron, Ohio, where the units are put to a much more graphic test. The cell we're using in today's test is one to fit last year's cars, so the construction is the same. All of the ones made for this year's race are already in their cars. They're raised in a rig 65 feet high. They're full of water. They weigh 280 pounds, and they're dropped. And as you can see, when this fuel cell hits the ground, it does not burst. It's equivalent of a 185-mile-an-hour wall crash here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's a graphic test of a fine new safety device. Now, what's going to happen to these? Well, I suspect someday you'll find them in the tank of your car in the family garage, but not until the $3,500 unit price comes down a little bit.
Okay, a look at the fuel cell that was very instrumental here in this crash.
And just look at the racetrack. There's no fuel on the racetrack, so therefore that fuel tank did not burst.
Okay, now there's Bobby Unser out of his car. Day is done for him. Let's go down to Bill.
Well, I've got an ignition problem, and apparently must be in the ignition itself. That's one part we can't change to get to.
I know you changed the coil, but it didn't work.
No, it didn't help. But that's usually the most likely thing to go wrong with the coil, but it didn't help this time. And
I can't imagine the frustration you must have felt sitting here for 5 minutes while that's going on behind you.
You see a year's work just went down the drain. Of course, it isn't just me. It's the crew and the Norton people and Roger Binsky. It's a year's work for us at this place.
It's only speculation now, Bobby, but you and Johnny Rutherford seem to be the fastest cars on the track. How do you think it would have turned out?
Well, Johnny was going to be tough, and I think that he thought maybe I was going to be tough too, so I don't know. I had a good hold on him, but it seemed like maybe I couldn't let go of him too easy either. So.
Maybe he's breathing a sigh of relief as he sees your car in the side.
He was just as happy as I would have been if it was him dropping out, but we just feel awfully bad. I feel sorrier for the crew, I think, than I do for myself,
You and Brother Al, wasn't your dad, was it?
No, I guess not.
You know, Bobby, while we have you here for just a moment, it seems we've had more attrition this year. More cars hitting the wall or spinning or going out. Is there any reason for that? We have less than half the field, I think, now.
Well, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I really haven't surveyed who's done all the wrecking so far, but I'll bet part of it's, maybe some of it's going to be to the rookies, not all of it. And maybe some of it just to, not very much power, not very much wings in the car, I suppose, probably a little bit of it.
Now, you don't know this, but Al Unser did an interview with us a little bit earlier, and he was quite disgruntled. I mean, he said, look, the cars don't have the power, you can't race out there. I mean, he was really ticked off.
Well, I don't blame him. See, what happened is when they changed the rules, they just went too far. And they got involved in the Cardiac Act War, so that particular rule. And it's too bad that it had to, because I think the fans want to see a little bit faster racing.
You want to see more boost next year, certainly.
Yeah, we want to see a little bit faster racing, which ultimately means more boost. And I think we owe it to the fans. To the drivers, I drive just as hard now, or maybe harder. So there's really no difference in the driving. It's really a matter of putting a show on for the people, I think.
Okay, Bobby, we'll look for you next year.
Well, we'll say hello to all the folks in New Mexico.
Back to you, Jim.
Penske Park cars meticulously prepared. Their drivers are an all-star team, and yet only one is left now. Something about the best-laid plans of mice and men.
I'm with Jerry Steva, who's just come in after an accident. Jerry, what happened?
Oh, is that the car just got extremely loose, and we spun going into one and hit the outside fence.
Was it a hard impact?
It hit harder than I wanted it to hit.
And you're okay?
Yeah, everything's good. Just disappointed that we're out of the race.
Okay, the pace of the race. Now, you were a rookie here 3 years ago. You've been kind of out of luck ever since. How did it seem to be going to you?
It seemed like nobody was really running away too far. We were running just about, I think we were running about the same speed everybody was, and you didn't have to pass. It was really extremely hard to pass other cars, and so there wasn't a whole lot of passing going on because everybody's running pretty close. If you did get an opportunity, you needed to take advantage of it. So the competition's pretty close.
How about your brother? He started absolutely last in 33rd place, and he led the race. What do you think?
That's me. I'm glad for him. That's a good job.
Yeah, he's done a super job, and they've been very fast there in the pit. Listen, good luck to you. I'm sorry to see you here and not out there.
Well, we are too. Thank you, Sam.
With Jerry Steva.
Brother Tom not only led the race, he leads the race right now. The man who started dead last. Second place, Johnny Rutherford. Then the defender, Rick Mears. A lot of racing going on out there.
Yep, there's the man there, Johnny Rutherford, who I must say that I just like the look of that race car. Jim Hall, great innovator in motor racing, aerodynamics and so forth. Funny enough, he might not have been the first man who brought aerodynamics to the speedway. That might have been Joe Concannon way back in 1961. He was a great innovator also. Jim Hall's the man who's given a lot of credit for aerodynamics, but Concannon certainly seems to be the man who brought it here.
And Rutherford is charging again. Yes, Concannon had little vestigial wings, little tiny ones on the back, didn't he?
Yeah, inside the racetrack, inside the left-hand side of the car, in fact. I've seen some pictures of them, and very small, but they've come a long way. Look at the size of the wings they have now.
And there's Johnny Rutherford moving in pursuit of Tom Steva. Let's go down to Chris Economaki. He is with the wife of Johnny Rutherford, Betty. Okay, Chris.
All right, Betty, how's he doing?
Everything's going just as we planned, and if it continues, it'll be really nice at the end.
How many more pit stops?
One more.
One more. Okay, Johnny Rutherford's wife, Betty, working on the stand here. Confident woman. She's been here many times before.
And there's what she's watching. Her husband, John, closing in on Tom Steva for the lead in the Indianapolis 5. Oh, look at that.
Gosh, he nearly hit the wall, and Johnny Rutherford there was right behind him. If he had hit the wall, Rutherford would have been involved in that. Now Rutherford says, I've had enough of that. I'm getting out. I'm going to get past, and nobody's going to crash in front of me.
Boy, Steva was really pushing that car. He was very, very close to the wall.
But I've been watching him. He, in fact, drives very close to the wall, and this is a driver who's confident. Let's look at it again. Look how close it is. Coming out there. Coming out of turn 4. Look at it. He almost creams the wall there. Johnny Rutherford recognizes it. Look how far Rutherford's away from the wall. He must have seen it coming maybe 50 yards before. Now there's a yellow flag out. It seems there might be some rubbish or debris on the race.
There's been no accident or anything. It must be just some debris that they've spotted somewhere on the track, but the yellow comes out yet again. We've sure had plenty of them this afternoon here at Indianapolis.
Well, of course, if there is anything on the racetrack, the officials want to bring it in because a car could run over it and, of course, burst a tire and cause a terrible accident. So Johnny Rutherford is still in the lead, and there is Tom Sneaver in the pits for a pit stop. Rick Mears is in the pits also.
Jackman fell down.
Yeah, a bit of fire drill going on there.
Yep. Rick Mears at the bottom. Steve at the top. Both cars being pushed out. Here they come. A little race out of the pits right now. Let's have a word with a man we've talked about a lot here today, Roger Penske.
Even though Roger Penske is smiling right now, he is obviously very tense. You've got one more out there, Rod.
Well, Bill, you had a tough day with Mario dropping out, and Bobby, evidently the ignition retarded on his mag, so it's a tough day, but Rick's hanging in there. We'll have to see what happens at the end.
Now, let me ask you this. Have we got enough fuel to go the distance?
No, but we can have a timed stop at the end, and Rutherford's going to have to take on a full load of fuel, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, back to you, Jim.
Okay, that could be a factor in this race. That Rutherford has to take on a full load of fuel. Okay, Dave, thanks very much. But here comes the green, Johnny Rutherford, the leader, and look who's in second place. Gary Bettenhausen, who started next to last in the field. In fact, last Sunday, he was the so-called man on the bubble. Number 46 just went out of your picture. And in fact, if the rains had not come, he might have been bumped out of this field. But now he's gone from next to last to second.
Well, I'm very happy for him because it couldn't happen to a nicer man. He's worked hard in motor racing. That family have had tough breaks in motor racing and a lot of tragedy. And it's so nice to see him up this hard and this high in this particular race.
Well, racing is very much a family affair in the United States. We noted that we had 3 sets of brothers starting in this race today, plus a set of half-brothers, Johnny Parsons and Pancho Carter. Well, in the case of Gary Bettenhausen, his father Tony was one of the most popular and most skillful drivers in the history of Indianapolis, who met his death on this racetrack in practice one day while testing a car for a friend, by the way.
Well, if he's up there right now, and there's a pass right there, that's Rick Mears.
Yep.
Rick Mears getting back up there. He's the man who's really having a go now for the Roger Penske's flag, and he's the only man left in the racetrack to wave it.
He's passed Tom Sneaver to move into 4th place. His next man in front is Gordon Johncock in car number 20. Number 1, remember, is the defending champion. Rick Mears, here he comes, moving on Johncock. Can he get him this time?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
He came out of the slipstream, he came out of the draft, and that's the way you have to do it, because these race cars with this boost, there's not a lot of power left there, so you've got to be able to coax the car just at the right part of the racetrack to slingshot to get the benefit of aerodynamics. The car in front is braking the air, and therefore allowing the car behind to get a lot of speed up. He might improve his speed by 6 or 10 miles an hour, therefore allowing the pass to take place, because there's nothing. And look at this pass, really low on the racetrack again. That's the type of racing that is only relying on another driver making a slight error of judgment and someone else having the quickness of wit to take advantage of it.
Is it possible, Jackie, that the Penske forces have been just saving that car a little bit in the heat today and are now letting out the boost a little more?
Well, I've never thought during the day of racing that Rick Mears has been driving as hard as he could. And I think he's the man who sat back, watched Mario Andretti, watched Bobby Unser attack where he's been sitting and waiting. Maybe that's what he is doing. Who knows?
Okay, well, he's moving up right now on Gary Bettenhausen in the black car, number 46 there, is Rick Mears, who won this race at age 27 last year. Now back to try to repeat. That hasn't happened very often. The last time it happened was 1970 and 71 when Al Unser won 2 in a row. In front of the, well, out of your picture now when Pancho Carter in car number 10. Here comes another attempt at a pass. He's going to do it.
And he's done it. He's doing well now. Of course, this kind of progress is what you would expect from a man like Rick Mears. It looks that he's got a long future in motor racing, but that man there seems to have it nicely sewed up right now. He's got a fair advantage. That's Pancho Carter there. It seems likely that he's going to be penalized by 1 lap for possibly infringing a rule. But the man you're seeing right now is the man in the limelight, and look at the advantage he's got in the rest of the field. That's Pancho Carter. Then you see the car of Rick Mears, the dark blue car there, number 1. And you see them coming onto this long 3,300 foot backstretch of this 2.5-mile oval. It's 4 corners. There's turn 1s and then a short shoot, a short straight, and then to turn 2 and down the long backstretch.
Now again, Pancho Carter would in fact be in second place in this race had he not been penalized the lap. He would be just that much that you see on the racetrack behind Rutherford. Rutherford with a 6-second lead right now, going 188.3 seconds on his last lap unofficially. That's the signal from his crew. There you see the difference between them, and there you see the leader going into turn 1 yet again. But Rick Mears has done a tremendous job moving up from 5th to 2nd in a very short period of time. The job of catching Rutherford will be much more difficult, it appears. Jackie talked to Rick Mears a little bit earlier.
Rick, it's been 12 short months since the sort of magic balloon went up for you. Has life changed a great deal for you?
Well, not a great deal, no. It's as far as the money is concerned, it's made me, a little more comfortable, and my family a little more comfortable in our lifestyle. But I suppose the main thing that's changed is it's made quite a few more demands on my time. I've got a little less free time to myself, and we're a little busier than we used to be, and it's opened a few doors, business opportunity-wise, and that kind of thing. I guess it's really kind of gotten the ball rolling. So now it's just a matter of keeping it rolling.
In a remarkably short time, you've done tremendously well in championship racing, Rick. It's now been suggested that you're going to go over to drive in Grand Prix racing. When's that likely to occur?
Well, it looks like possibly right now it'll probably be the French Grand Prix at the end of June. That'll be probably the first one we run. We're still kicking things around. I haven't totally made up my mind as yet what I'm going to do, and I'm going to probably run the French Grand Prix, and then after that make a total decision one way or the other on actually what I want to do.
Well, it'll be fascinating to see how Rick Mears could do in Grand Prix racing. In the history of that sport, only 2 Americans have won the world title. Phil Hill back in 1961 and Mario Andretti 2 years ago. Rick Mears currently second, trying to pursue Johnny Rutherford. That is a very knotty problem to try to pick out for yourself today because Rutherford is just very, very fast.
He is, but nobody can give up, and one never knows. A motor car only needs to have a mild problem mechanically, and this whole race could change. You could see the relationship. It was a long way that he had an advantage. Johnny Rutherford way out in front.
Johnny Rutherford continues to lead the Indianapolis 500. Mears second, then Bettenhausen, John Cock, and Tom Sneva. Brother Jerry crashed a little bit earlier. Really hard to estimate how much money has gone into the preparation of this Johnny Rutherford car. Jim Hall is a financially secure man himself, an oilman in Midland, Texas. He has testing facilities down there. Still needs additional car sponsors because it's an extremely expensive sport, the way it's competed for at this level. This car, as you can see, just performs beautifully. It's no accident. It's a money sport. Let's see just how much is required.
What does a season of IndyCar racing cost? That's a question often heard. Well, it's like buying an airline ticket, really. You can go first class, you can go tourist, or you can take advantage of one of the many economy packages, so to speak, hopefully to fit your budget. Let's take a look at how a heavily financed and well-sponsored team like Penske Racing, Patrick Racing, or the Chaparral team goes. The first thing they need is a tractor and a trailer to carry the cars. It's an air-conditioned tractor with radio and sleeper accommodations, and the whole thing costs $110,000. Then in the back are 2 chassis at $100,000, 4 engines at $39,000 apiece, spares and tools of $50,000, and we're up to $416,000 already. Then there's a $150,000 driver fee, $180,000 for crew salaries and entry fees, and our numbers hit $746,000. Then there are the logistics, airfares, uniforms, travel and promotional expenses, another $330,000. The numbers can vary a little bit up or a little bit down, but it's safe to say that a top-line team does spend more than $1 million for a season of racing.
An advantage, Johnny Rutherford way out in front.
Johnny Rutherford continues to lead the Indianapolis 500. Mears second, then Bettenhausen, John Cock, and Tom Sneva. Brother Jerry crashed a little bit earlier. Really hard to estimate how much money has gone into the preparation of this Johnny Rutherford car. Jim Hall is a financially secure man himself, an oilman in Midland, Texas. He has testing facilities down there. Still needs additional car sponsors because it's an extremely expensive sport, the way it's competed for at this level. This car, as you can see, just performs beautifully. It's no accident. It's a money sport. Let's see just how much is required.
What does a season of IndyCar racing cost? That's a question often heard. Well, it's like buying an airline ticket, really. You can go first class, you can go tourist, or you can take advantage of one of the many economy packages, so to speak, hopefully to fit your budget. Let's take a look at how a heavily financed and well-sponsored team like Penske Racing, Patrick Racing, or the Chaparral team goes. The first thing they need is a tractor and a trailer to carry the cars. It's an air-conditioned tractor with radio and sleeper accommodations, and the whole thing costs $110,000. Then in the back are two chassis at $100,000, four engines at $39,000 apiece, spares and tools of $50,000, and we're up to $416,000 already. Then there's a $150,000 driver fee, $180,000 for crew salaries and entry fees, and our numbers hit $746,000. Then there are the logistics, airfares, uniforms, travel and promotional expenses, another $330,000. The numbers can vary a little bit up or a little bit down, but it's safe to say that a top-line team does spend more than $1 million for a season of racing. Let's take a look at the other side of the coin. The unsponsored racer, the newcomer, the Roger Rager type. Well, when they come, they usually come in something like this. A covered trailer and something to pull it with cost about $8,000. And inside is a used chassis, cost $40,000. And instead of expensive racing engines, there's three stock block Chevrolet engines, cost $7,500 apiece. We asked about logistics, and we're told that a month's rent in an Indianapolis apartment is $500. Add another $1,000 to that for incidentals for the month of May, plus another $10,000 for the rest of the season, and you'll have a Roger Rager getting through the year for about $82,000. And what about the returns? Well, the returns come in two forms, sponsorship and prize money. For the haves, where it costs over $1 million to go racing, they can expect the sponsorship to total $1 million or $1.5 million from a top American company. And they'll have a profit going in. For the have-nots, where their cost is just over $80,000, Roger Rager said the other day he's already gotten $67,500 in sponsorship money, and if he does well in the 500, he might pick up another $10,000 or $15,000 before the end of the year, and perhaps break even. And what about the winnings? Well, to win the Indianapolis 500 pays between $250,000 and $300,000. For a top-ranked team, that's just an entry in the ledger. For Roger Rager, it's easy street.
And Roger Rager, of course, unfortunately crashed and is out of this race. In this particular Indianapolis 500, still led by Johnny Rutherford, pursued by the defender, Rick Mears, and then Gordon Johncock, a former winner. Tom Sneva, who started last in the race today, is still in fourth place at the moment, and Gary Bettenhausen, who started next to last, is just behind him now. So the two of them have been pretty close to each other all afternoon, moving up all the way through the field.
They have, and the top four, and there's Johnny Rutherford going to come in for fuel. This is the vital one for him. He's going to have to top right up with fuel. Every gallon and every quart that he can get in there has to go in, because he's still going to have a good many laps still to go, and it's even going to be marginal at the end of the race for him. And this fuel stop, nobody can make the slightest error of judgment, because Rick Mears is hot on his heels, and he doesn't have to make another pit stop, so therefore things look very tight for Johnny Rutherford, and optimistic, if you like, for the Rick Mears team.
No question about it. This race is not over at all. Although Rutherford looks comfortable and his car looks so smooth and beautiful. Here he comes in now with this all-important, critical pit stop. As you said, one drop wrench could lose the race here.
Well, the car itself takes 40 gallons of fuel. Right now, they'll probably put in 38 or 39 gallons, because it's difficult to get much more in. They're not going to change any rubber on them. They're going to try and send them out. Now, he's already passed the fast pit stop that we've seen just for fuel. So therefore, they're really making sure, they're really putting every quart in. It's a long pit stop just for fuel.
Certainly is. 17 seconds. That could be very costly. Stay with us. This race isn't over, because Rick Mears is really pushing it out on the racetrack right now and is the leader at this moment. Rick Mears, defending his championship, leads at Indianapolis. After dogging the leaders all day, Rick Mears has taken the lead at Indianapolis. More coming up after this word from your local stations. Rick Mears leads the Indianapolis 500 as we enter the closing stages. Less than 30 laps to go in the race now. Sneva is second, as you notice, and Johnny Rutherford is third. Boy, we have a lot of racing yet to come. Let's go down for a report in the pits to Chris Economaki.
Well, leader Johnny Rutherford just took 17 and a half seconds to do nothing but take on fuel. That's a rather long fuel stop. They checked the tires and did not change any. Now, had they wanted to change tires, they could have without it costing them any time, because you can take tires off and put them on inside a 17 and a half second pit stop. Apparently, the car was extremely low on fuel. There's 29 laps left in the race. Could be a battle of the pitmen. Back to you, Jim.
Okay, Chris, and the leader at the moment is Rick Mears. We'll repeat that, the defending champion, driving a very heady race, as he always does. Last year, out of a possible 2,600 miles he could have driven on the racetrack, he completed 2,591, only 9 miles short of completing every lap.
That is an incredible figure of consistency. It represents his talent in driving. It also, of course, represents tremendous talent by his pit crew, the car manufacturer, his mechanics, and really this is what you have to do. You've got to finish before you can win. And it's amazing that this young man, at the age now of only 28, is as maturity as he is mentally, because he does drive in a very cool, calm and calculated way. It would be very simple for him to get carried away with it all. This man doesn't get carried away with very much either. He's a very straight shooter, and he's got a man who's very unflappable in the pits with him, Jim Hall.
Look at that crowd. You see that shot?
Beautiful shot. Wonderful. This is such an impressive event. I come from all parts of racetracks all over the world, and, you know, it always amazes me, this place. It gives you goose pimples, as the boys said down in the other part of the racetrack earlier, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a tremendous event.
Rick Mears with a 22-second lead. Now, he's got to come in for fuel, but he should be able to do a quicker pit stop than that with the kind of a crew he has under Roger Penske. We might repeat, too, as we said earlier, that last person to repeat. We got another fire in the pits, and again, it's Hurley Haywood.
My
fires today in the pits.
It's tremendous. You know, he has been burned. I can see he's got burning there in the lower part of his overalls. You know, you can't see these flames of these alcohol fires, so therefore the driver sits in there, doesn't know he's on fire until he feels the flames burning.
Look at this, slowing down, the only 4-time winner of this race, A.J. Foyt, who has never been a factor at any time today.
Well, disappointing, because he is a competitor. He always wants to do well, and when he retires, he's never happy. He's never pleased. He's a man of many moods, and right now I can't believe he's in an awful good mood, because as you say, he's never really contended the lead today.
That smiling picture you saw up there was obviously taken earlier. That's not the way he feels right now. Rick Mears still out there with a big lead at the moment, but remember, he must make a fuel stop. Rutherford behind him has already made his final stop. The lead has been chopped down by 2 seconds. That means Rutherford still... Now the yellow comes out. The yellow comes out for the tow-in for A.J. Foyt. He finally stopped on the race course. So things get even more interesting. Here is Sneva, who's in second place, in a quick stop, not only for fuel, but for tires, under the yellow.
Well, he's running second in the racetrack. This is a good pit stop. He's off. He's being pushed around. A bit of a slow pit stop, actually, in the fine press there. He seemed to sit for about a second before getting back on. But as it's under the yellow, it's perhaps not so damaging for him. But I expect that this time Rick Mears will come in, and surely he does. Now, let's have a look at this. Remember, Bobby Unser came in earlier and took fuel in only over 6 seconds. It's the same crew, not the same mechanics, but basically the same crew. Now, he's not taking any tires on. This is just fuel. They're taking the lines out. Rick Mears sitting in there, knowing that he's got a shot at this race. Look at the time there, and he's going out in 10 seconds. He's on the racetrack.
Okay, see if he can hold on to the lead. Rick Mears going back onto the race course. There's Rutherford in car number 4. And there's still under the yellow, of course. Let's get a report on the Pancho Carter situation right now as A.J. is out of the race from Bill Fleming in the pits.
I'm with Johnny Cables, the crew chief of Pancho Carter. John, according to our calculations, Pancho would actually be second had he not been penalized. What happened?
He was waved by the pace car, according to our communication from the race car to myself. The pace car was just building up speed. They were below the yellow line, and they waved him by, so he came around and closed up, and then we pitted, and now we're being assessed a lap penalty. As far as our lap count is concerned, we're on the same lap as Rutherford, got 22 leading laps, but they're not giving any of this to us. They're going to use the pencil and erase one of our laps by penalizing us. So if we go the distance, which we hope we do, I guess we're going to have a real Donnybrook in judging and scoring, because he was asked to go by. The pace car was slow and below the yellow line. When the pace car is below the yellow line, it has not pulled out in front of the pack yet. And the way we understand that is the pack can go until it arrests the speed of the pack.
So you would protest?
Oh, yes, we're going to have this thing. We're going to talk about it for sure. I've scheduled a meeting with the stewards as soon as I was notified of this. We just have to see what comes. We're not asking for anything for nothing. We've been racing real hard today, and we're second and third beyond any doubt, but not with a one-lap penalty being assessed against us.
So it looks like there's going to be a protest. A.J. Foyt out of his car. The day is over for the four-time winner of Indianapolis at age 45. Still under the yellow at Indianapolis in the closing stages of the race. Johnny Rutherford has taken the lead again. You see the yellow still out. Let's go down to Chris Economaki with A.J. Foyt.
What's been the problem?
Well, the biggest thing, we got a valve that didn't have about 43 damn inches. That's the biggest damn thing wrong all day. Don't like the rules, huh? Well, it's both. If you want to run taxi cabs with anybody driving, they ought to hire them. This ain't no race. This is a damn taxi cab race.
Okay, as you can see, four-time winner A.J. Foyt is not a happy man this Memorial Day.
Disgruntled, you might even say. But here comes the green flag out with that race to the checkered flag. Johnny Rutherford first. Tom Steve is second now. Rick Mears on that pit stop has dropped back to third. Rutherford's going to be tough to catch. But remember, he's got tremendous power in that car.
Well, he's got a car that handles apart from anything else. Power-wise, remember, you're looking at a car that's got about 600 horsepower. By the way, that car in the lead there, as it would appear, is young Tim Richmond. He's just been passed, but he's a lap down. And there you see the man who's in fact leading the race clearly, the yellow car number 4 from Texas, built, constructed, designed, prepared, and looked after by the great Jim Hall, a great innovator in motor racing in all formulas. He's done all sorts of things in sports car racing and everything else. Now he's attacking the Indianapolis 500, nearly won it last year, is now leading it in the closing stages, and there is the other yellow car, that's Tom Sneeva getting through there, and there's Rick Mears, who went into the pits there, did a fast fuel stop there, got out without using any rubber at all, and you can see that's Rick Mears there, car number 1, carrying the championship he won for the Cart Group in the year 1979 after winning this Indy 500 last year.
Just in case A.J. Foyt left any question in your mind as to what he was talking about, he was criticizing the rule which limits the boost to 48 cubic inches this year. He'd like to have about 60. And you heard he was not only critical, he was furious about it. All this taxi cab racing. Well, not exactly taxis at 189 miles an hour, but slower than A.J. would like and slower than a lot of the experienced drivers would like.
Yes, they like to have excess power just to be able to handle the cars and to be able to use the talent that they've honed and worked on for so many years. And that's what power does, because normally these cars can be pumped up to 800, 900 and more horsepower. And when you get a car developing 900 horsepower, let me tell you, Jim, it feels fantastic. When you put your foot down going onto that back stretch, it gives you a kick in the backside like you've never felt before.
Johnny Rutherford stretching out that lead. The only question now might be, Jackie, can he make it to the finish with the fuel he has, because they measure it almost to the eyedropper full to the finish line.
It's not only that, you know, he's got to finish with a car in one piece. I remember I was leading this race with only 10 laps to go in 1966, driving for John Meekum from Texas also. And there's Rick Mears coming into the pits. This can't be scheduled. Rick Mears is coming into the pits.
And so the Penske cars, one by one, have been having their problems. First Mario Andretti, then Bobby Unser. Both of them were leading the race when their problems came up. Rick Mears not leading now, but he was in a strong third place. They're changing the rubber.
He's changing outside rubber, and he looks like he's changing inside rubber at the back as well. There may be a tire problem for him. He may have a puncture. He may not be sure which one it is, and therefore he's being sure to change all the tires as an insurance policy.
Okay, being pushed out. Rick Mears underway, but his chances of winning this race have all but vanished now. With Rutherford leading and Sneva second. There is the leader, John Rutherford of Fort Worth, Texas. A report on the Mears situation from Chris Economaki.
But what looked like a strategic error was not in the Roger Penske pit of Rick Mears. The question, of course, arises, why didn't they change tires when he was in a little while ago for fuel? Well, he didn't need tires. But after he went out, he got a flat left rear tire that had to come to the pits, and it's going to cost him valuable money and position. Here's Rick Mears' tire, and you can see the little pinhole that cost him in the pits there, blowing out of the hole there, and that's why he stopped to change tires. Back to you, Jim.
Simple as that. Even as you and I, he got a flat tire in the Indianapolis 500.
You can get it on the road, and you can get it on the racetrack. He has to leave the pit lane. There's an awful lot of racetrack there. It's 50 feet wide right there where you're looking at it, and just anything can be picked up. Of course, these racing cars are very thin. They're very conscious of the weight, but look at this crowd on the right-hand side of your picture there. And there's Johnny Rutherford's wife, Betty. She must be getting tenser and tenser and tenser.
No question of that. It's interesting that the car in the lead right now started on the pole, the fastest qualifier. The car in second place started last in the race.
Isn't that amazing?
Started first and last, now the first and second.
Tom Sneva's in second place.
There he is.
That's him right there. Tom Sneva, look how close he runs to that wall, Jim. Even this close to the end of the race. I'm always impressed by that. That wall always frightened me. That's the relationship there. That was Johnny Rutherford, and now we're picking up Tom Sneva.
Okay, getting closer and closer to the inexorable finish here at Indianapolis. We'll be back. 4 laps to go at Indianapolis, and Johnny Rutherford is looking more and more like a winner, trying to win his third Indianapolis 500. A battle for third place here. Gary Bettenhausen being pursued by Gordon Johncock. They're out of your picture now, but here, let's pick them up again. Yeah, well, here they went. There's Stenium Gaius in the black car. He's in 7th place, but he's a lap down. A good battle for third. Well, here they are. Okay, that's Bettenhausen in front, Johncock behind him. Battling for third place behind the leader, Johnny Rutherford, in the second place car of Tom Sneva. Only men to have won this race 3 times or more have been Louis Meyer, Wilbur Shaw, Maury Rhodes, Al Unser. They all won it 3 times. And A.J. Foyt, who has won it 4 times. If Rutherford wins today, he'll join very select company. Again, the battle for third and fourth place. You know, last year, the difference in money, for example, between third and fourth at the end of the race was about $25,000. We understand it'll be even more this year. So this is not just for pride.
But it's a lot of pride involved here, and Gary Bettenhausen really wants to be able to do it. Gordon Johncock, of course, has won this race before, but Gary Bettenhausen would love to finish ahead of him right now and pick up that extra money. It would be tremendous for him. He's such a nice man. He's 38 years of age, and as I say, he's had a lot of sadness. His brother very badly damaged. He's been damaged in motor racing. His father lost his life in motor racing. It's interesting that his crew chief, Paul Leffler, is the father of Greg Leffler. It's a great motor racing family in this sport, particularly in Indiana and particularly in this form of racing.
No question. Incidentally, if Tom Sneva should finish second, excuse me, Jackie, he'll be only the 5th man ever to finish second in this race 3 times. The others be Harry Hart, Wilbur Shaw, Bill Holland, and Jim Rathman. Interesting point that Wilbur Shaw won the race 3 times and finished second 3 times. 2 laps to go now. Still that battle for third going on. Remember, Rutherford is way out in front. No problem for him at the moment, and it looks like he's going to win and win easily. Second place, Sneva, he's all by himself. But the battle for third is going to be going right to the checkered flag between Gary Bettenhausen, still in front of Gordon Johncock. Johncock might be saving a NASCAR-type slingshot move, perhaps.
I bet you he is. I bet he's thinking a lot about it right now. He's really filling the mirrors of Gary, and it seemed that he closed right up right there, and he got a little bit loose also. These cars, when they get loose, it means that the back end slides out a little bit, and when they don't have that surplus power, it's quite easy for them to get loose and in fact spin out, and that's Daniel Gaius who's shadowing there, so that you'll see, but he's one lap down, so he's well out of the way. We're waiting in Johnny Rutherford right now because he's such a long way ahead, and we'll see what the difference is. This long straight in there.
Here's Johnny. There he is. Coming up to take the white flag. Should be the white flag. Yes, one lap to go for Johnny Rutherford. And the Indy 500 will be over for 1980. This the final lap. And still the battle going on for third place, remember. It's going to be Rutherford the winner, unless something very untoward happens. It's going to be Tom Stevens for the second. And who's going to finish third? Betty Rutherford has to be doing a little praying.
She's praying. I saw the rest of the team as soon as he passed there on his very last lap. Everybody turned, as we saw from our commentary position here, and looked away from the racetrack just saying, oh please, 2.5 miles more. Johnny Rutherford now, he knows. In fact, even if his engine stopped now, the chances are he could coast the rest of the way. It looks like his fuel is holding up. It looks like he's got enough gas in the tank.
He's got it all right. You can hear the crowd, the roar growing from 380,000 people as the checker flag is given to Johnny Rutherford of Fort Worth, Texas. He has won his third Indianapolis 500. And Betty can relax and let it all go now.
This is Jim Hall congratulating her. Also, Jim Hall, cool as a cucumber, hasn't really shown much emotion as I look out.
And here comes Tom Steva in the back there in the yellow car. Oh, and some guys hit the wall, but the battle for third is coming to the finish line. And John Cox making his move. Oh, how close together. A matter of no more than a foot, perhaps inches between those cars. But Bettenhausen, I believe, held on for third.
Tremendous finish. Here's the man who won it, but Danny and Gaius, the last corner of the last lap hit the wall. I think it must have been concentration or something, but there's a man who's very happy. Hand in the air. Johnny Rutherford waving to everyone already. Seems to have taken his driving glove off. And look at this. That is young Tim. Yes, Tim Richmond has stopped. He's waiting.
Rutherford stopping. Apparently, he can't be stopping for Richmond.
Decent pack. When he doesn't go right back, he's waving to him. He's talking about, A.J. Frank was talking about a taxi service. Yeah, there's the most expensive one you could find.
It's a yellow cab. So Tim Richmond, just has a way of getting in the spotlight. He may be the oncoming A.J. Foyt in that way. All the month of May, this rookie at age 24 is always in the picture. He had a fine finish here. You would imagine he'll be the rookie of the year.
Well, he's finished ninth, and this might be one way of getting into the victory circle prematurely.
Rutherford seemed to enjoy it just as much, the two of them shaking hands.
And he's lifting the hand of Johnny Rutherford up and pointing, number one is Rutherford. Young Tim, he must be looking forward to that one day.
Well, the crowd got all they could have asked for today. Magnificent racing, no serious injuries, some spectacular sights to see, and a very worthy winner in Johnny Rutherford of Fort Worth, Texas at age 42. Betty will be waiting in victory lane, so will be Bill Fleming, who will have a word with the winner for us as it's pushed up in here for the traditional bottle of milk that they give at Indy instead of champagne as you're used to in Europe. Jackie, Rutherford has done it again. Stay with us to meet the winner.
Johnny, is the thrill as great for the third time as it was for the first?
Oh, I tell you, it never dies. The thrill is always there, no matter how it comes. The 500-mile race is a great challenge, and by golly, my team rose to the occasion, and the car did the job, and I'm just really happy.
Betty, how about you? Is the thrill still there?
It's the same every time. It never gets old, never.
John, it looked at one point late in the race, maybe with 60 laps to go, as if the car wasn't handling exactly right, and you made an adjustment. What was it?
Well, we made the adjustment a little earlier than that, but it's we got the thing working better. We raised the front wing, and it seemed to be pushing a little bit out there. It got a little oily. You can see from the front of the car, the oil on it. Some cars were dropping a lot of oil, and it became a problem.
Now, in your estimation, having been out there for the full 200 laps, was there any particular reason why we had so many incidents?
Well, I think it was a case of, I think it's the 48 inches myself. It gets so exasperating setting out there and not being able to go because you don't have the power. The cars are designed to go faster and safer, and I really feel like if they had 60 inches, who knows? That's sheer conjecture, but I think maybe it would have been a little safer.
How about you yourself? Was it as hard a race to win with 48 inches of boost as it was, let's say, with higher boost earlier?
Well, with a car like this, it was not easy. But tired? But it wasn't that hard. I'm pretty tired.
Okay, Johnny, congratulations, and you join a very select group, becoming the 6th man in history to win this race more than 3 times, or 3 times or more.
Well, we always talk to the winner, of course, but this time I think it's very worthwhile to talk to the man who remarkably finished second, coming from last place on the start from 33rd position, Tom Stever. Let's go to Chris Economaki.
Hey, Tom, with a little ground effect, you'd have won it, you know that, huh?
Well, we've got a good group of guys. They work awful hard, and the Bonjour people and the Sugar Ray people. Everybody did their job, and the car's a little bit old, but they get the rules straightened around. This thing will still be a good race car. I'm real happy. I guess it just doesn't matter where we start. We're going to finish second, and that's about it.
No, Tom, back in 1957, Jim Rathman started 32nd and finished second. Now, you've broken that record. You've started in the front row, you've started in the back row. Which is better for you?
Well, I don't know. I was just as competitive from the back as we were from the front in the past, and, I just wish I paid passing points, I guess.
Okay, Tom Steve, a happy second-place finisher.